Alright, it tells me I'm live, so... Howdy. Caribbean Obsidian. Sound off, please, quickly. There we go. Alright, as usual, we're going to wait for a few people to filter in to get to the action, which there's not going to be a whole ton of action, but there might be. Howdy, howdy. What do you mean I finally showed up? It's just now 7:01. I turned it on at 7 o'clock. Drink of choice for tonight is LaCroix Tangerine Sparkling Water. And I do, of course, have body armor for later here. I need that. So, it is Axiom release day. I don't know if anybody saw the live streams that Storm had earlier this morning. They had a couple different ones. They had one with Mr. Mr. Chrisman, Dave Sims, and Gary Holsenberg. And then Steve and Chad sat down to talk a little Axiom a little bit later. So I guess I'm late to the live stream party, but I went ahead and scheduled it for now. Most of us, I think, would be getting ready for League right now. I know that we'd be just about done with the first game ourselves, and then our little tournament, our little local tournament that we run would have been tonight as well also. So I'm definitely going to get to bed earlier tonight than I normally do. Normally it's like 1 or 1:30 or something. Howdy, oh yeah. Mr. Joe, howdy from Central Colorado. Yeah, Tobias should be bowling team Springfield right now. That's an ouch. Yeah, the replacement of the Code X would definitely be a Phase 2 right now, actually, so... Storm B28, Kingpin, Stacy, Darren, Joe, Tobias. You didn't have to retract your message. Oh, you should be. Okay, whatever. Should be in Springfield. Hi, my rev rate is halfway between you and your wife. I ordered the Axiom for Nationals. What layouts would you recommend? That's really tough. I'd leave that up to your pro shop operator, somebody that knows your game better and knows everything that's going on. Recommending layouts online is a bad idea, and I would say that within reason, unless it's extremely completely simple, you probably shouldn't be taking a whole lot of suggestions for layouts from somebody online who doesn't know you or know what's going on. Probably the Axiom is not going to be in play on the team pattern. I'm not even sure that my wife would be able to throw it on the team pattern. Doubles and singles, I think it's going to be pretty good. James might be able to, a.k.a. Shimwrecker. James might be able to throw it on the team pattern, but he throws it kind of fast, so... Ball review YouTube guru. All right. That's me, I guess. Can I bowl two-handed? Absolutely not. I can bowl with either hand at a time, but definitely not two-handed. There's a video in that. Back when I was still allowed to do beer frames, we did have a two-handed bowling beer frame where we kind of discussed things, and then Anthony and I had kind of a bowl-off with an actual two-handed bowler. So, Toronto, Canada. Cool. Should I change completely to a higher weight or mix weights? Definitely don't mix weights. That's a bad idea. So, definitely wouldn't mix weights. It kind of messes with quite a few things. You develop muscle memory as you bowl, and so going back and forth can throw off your timing, throw off your tempo, a bunch of different things. So it's never a good idea to go back and forth. Yeah, because of the virus, nobody can bowl really. So yes, Axiom is very nice. Do you think the left is walled? Absolutely not. And by the laughing faces, I'm guessing that you don't think it is either. The left is not walled. It's both tougher and easier depending on how you look at it. You either have a shot or you don't. There's no such thing as a. It's kind of funny to see a lefty like shoot their average. That doesn't happen very often. They either have big sets or not so great sets. Most of the time within reason. Obviously, an average is an average for some reason. But no, the left's actually fairly difficult. It holds up longer, and the back ends are sharper, but the back ends being sharper means that if you miss inside a little bit, it sniffs friction and just goes. Where on the right side of the lane, most of the time you can tug it. You know, you've heard of the rocket to the pocket. That there's no such thing on the left side. It's more like a rocket to a Greek church. So, yeah. And I can probably get in and do some practice the next couple weeks, but I've got kind of a happy pandemic. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of happy pandemic, it's actually kind of interesting because I've got, I travel, most of you know that I travel for work. I'm a bridge inspector, and so I travel full time. I leave on Mondays. I get back Thursday afternoon. Obviously, obviously that's not a thing, and I can't inspect bridges from the office. The office is also like completely not accessible for the next 2 weeks, so I'm on vacation, as a lot of people are, you know, voluntary, involuntary, however you want to look at that. The wife's going to get a clean house. I'm finally going to get to watch the Marvel movies that I hadn't seen before. I actually got through the last 2 Avengers movie, not having seen any of the Captain America movies, none of the Thor movies, didn't see Captain Marvel, Black Panther. I did see Doctor Strange, that was good. So really all I saw was the Iron Man 1 and 2, the 2 Ant-Man movies, and the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and the Avenger movies. No Spider-Man, no Incredible Hulk, no nothing. So I'm going back and I'm going to catch up on those. I am going to continue my Nationals series, even though that's been kind of postponed for right now. I imagine it's going to get pushed even further back, or possibly even canceled. That hasn't happened yet. As of now, they're still planning on starting on May 1st, so we'll kind of revisit that and see what happens. But I still have to do my doubles and singles, kind of break down some team strategy, and I have plenty of footage for that, and so I'm going to put something together with that once I get that stuff all written. Most people may not know that I'm into writing. I've been writing kind of a fantasy novel trilogy, I guess you'd say. I have 3 trilogies planned. All with the same story. I've been writing on them for about 20 years, and I've got the general concept. I just don't have a whole lot of time to write much, so I'm going to get into writing some of that. And of course, there's going to be some more bowling videos. I just upgraded my editing software, and so I've got a bunch of new tricks and tools and stuff to play with, and so I'm going to kind of use the next couple weeks to... I'm not going to be pumping out a bunch of videos. I have some to do, but I'm going to be using it more to kind of do the things that I don't get a whole lot of time to do. I'm going to play with the editing software a little bit, see what I can do. I've got a sound editor now that I'm going to see if I can do some stuff with that, and kind of slow down and play with some stuff that I don't normally get to do. So, in addition to not having anything to do on the weekends now, bowling shut down, so no tournaments. I was supposed to have a state tournament next weekend, and then we were supposed to have a benefit for one of the local KU bowling teams started up again, but it's a club sport, so they need support and stuff. So they were going to have kind of a fundraiser event for that. That's obviously not going now. So yeah, so I might still be able to get into the bowling alley too and practice a little bit left-handed, but again, I'm not. There's no rush on that. And I work a lot, I do YouTube a lot, and so I am going to take little bit of downtime. It's kind of interesting looking ahead and not having a whole lot going on. So normally it's just kind of just got to keep one foot in front of the other, and so now actually having time to work with here is kind of interesting. So aside from that rambling, not answering questions, I have my blank nuclear cell. Let's see. Think there will be another pearl phase again? Possibly. Possibly, I would hope so. It'd be a different kind of a pearl, obviously, but bull two-handed. Having my blank nuclear cell staring at me is killing me. Yeah, and that's sucks quite a bit to have the Axiom come out. There's a lot of people. My videos have done well. Everybody's looking forward to the Axiom coming out, and now it's out and nobody can bowl. So that kind of sucks. But the good thing is it's not going to go anywhere. So as soon as we all get back to bowling, then that's what's gonna. Throw what on the team pattern? The Axiom, no chance. Yeah. Yeah, the Axiom for doubles and singles is probably going to be pretty sweet. I would bet that you could throw the Axiom for all 6 games. It feels like that type of a ball. So, hello, got an Idle Pro got to throw it twice. Was looking for an 800 soon, but well shut down. Yeah. I think this is the time of the year where most people start looking forward to the summer and to doing other things anyway. And so I think once it starts warming up outside and golf courses are open, that's about the best social distancing that you can get is walking around on a golf course. But as soon as it starts getting warm, people are ready to get outside. So I think that right now where everybody's still kind of in bowling mindset and there's this kind of tournament season right now, but I think once everybody gets used to not being in the bowling alley, I think it's going to be hard for a week or so, but I think once you get used to it and just accept that it's not there right now, I think everybody will probably be fine. Of course, the bowling alleys may not be fine. And I did want to talk a little bit about that. I'll catch up on some questions, but there's a lot of things that right now the 2 bowling alleys in town, the Westridge and Gage, are shut down right now. And I've heard several different interesting things, interesting ways to help out. Like I've heard that there are some leagues that have decided not to continue. They just decided, okay, we'll just end the season, even if the bowling alleys open back up in a couple weeks. Let's just end the season. And then they donated their entire prize fund to the bowling alley to help them keep going, because right now they're not getting anything, and I know the ones in town are taking this as an opportunity to do a lot of deep cleaning or stuff that they don't normally get to do. Deep cleaning, organization, the mechanics are getting everything in tip-top condition, and so they're taking time to get some of these things done that they don't have a chance to do during regular operating hours. But this also means that they have no money coming in, and they've still got employees to pay. And in the case of the owners, I mean, they still have bills to pay, whether unless something happens there. But that would be an interesting idea to talk to the people in your league about, because ultimately, what is it to you? But maybe a couple $100. And I know that there's some people too that are off work that could really use the money. But I think those people that can help out, there's a lot of different ways to help out, and that's one of the more interesting ways that I've heard. So let's see. Staying lefty for a foreseeable future. There's going to be kind of a hybrid, because the interesting thing about it is that when I bowl league Thursday nights, and then Friday morning is my filming time, so I get up and go out to the bowling alley at 8 o'clock, and then I bowl for 3 hours or so, and then Friday night is league, and then most of the time I have some kind of a tournament on Saturday or Sunday. And so by the time I get to league Friday night, my arm is just limp to begin with, because when I film, I'm throwing shots as fast as I can for 2 or 3 solid hours. And so I get kind of worn out there, and then, as the weekend kind of goes on, it progressively gets worse. And when I try to play all these different angles with these different balls, maybe in zones that they're not supposed to be played from or used from. My mechanics get out of whack, and then when I'm tired and trying to still force things to work, I think I do a lot more damage than good. But since I started filming left-handed, all of a sudden I'm bowling really well right-handed, and things are kind of, my strength is kind of coming back, and when I do bowl, I'm throwing the right ball in the right part of the lane, and everything kind of clicks and works out, and so I'm not getting tired. I'm not practicing bad mechanics. I mean, I am practicing bad mechanics 100% of the time, but they could be worse. And so when I'm doing the right things in the right part of the lane and everything kind of works, everything's going really well. But the interesting thing about it is, from USBC's point of view, I am a scratch bowler, and I can't get a separate sanction number. They don't really, I mean, they'll track the averages separate on bowl.com under my number, but at the same time, my highest average is what my average is, so they don't keep track. They're not going to look on there and say, okay, well, your left-handed average is 210, so you're going to use that as an entering average. That's not how it works. You use your highest book average as your entering average, period. So when I start bowling left-handed, I'm going to be a scratch bowler to begin with. Obviously, once I get past the first couple weeks or whatever, the average setting in league left-handed, then that'll kind of take over. But as far as tournaments or anything else, unless the tournament decided to re-rate me, and they're never going to re-rate you down, that will never happen, then I will be a scratch bowler, and so I'm going to have to either make a lot of progress this summer, or my plan kind of is, since I'm shooting videos left-handed for the national stuff, I shot all that right-handed, and that actually, since I hadn't been shooting for a couple weeks, that helped out a little bit. So that didn't go as bad as it could have, but I think what I'm going to do going forward for right now is, I have a league that I'm going to bowl left-handed. I have my scratch league that I'm a captain in that I'm going to be bowling right-handed in, at least for another year. And then most of the tournaments right now that I bowl in, nationals being one of them, but most of the tournaments I bowl in, I'm going to bowl right-handed right now until I kind of get things down and kind of back in the swing of things left-handed. So yes, it's going to be kind of a hybrid thing going forward. I'm kind of interested myself to see how that's going to turn out. So any balls you'd recommend for a speed-dominant bowler, average 18 to 20 miles an hour? You're probably going to be using a bunch of asymmetric stuff just to help you with the extra torque on the back end. Now, if you're James can throw it that fast, but he also has a pretty good rev rate to keep up with that too, and so he can still throw, IQs and things of that nature. But if you're speed dominant and have kind of an average rev rate, you're going to be wanting stuff like physics, UFO, stronger symmetric stuff, idle pearl, axiom, things like that. So physics, I think, is the one that comes to my mind just right off the top of the bat. So for a weaker symmetric and a high rev rate, if I'm bowling on dirt, should I get a pearl and it might go more on the back end, or a solid or a hybrid if it reads earlier? If you're bowling on dirt and you want a weaker symmetric, Hustle Link is a pretty easy one right there. I don't know that you necessarily need a pearl, and this is another video that I wanted to work on, and I didn't have a chance to get my High Road X drilled, and I was actually going to compare the High Road X to the Axiom because they're both solids and they absolutely have zero in common. But when people talk about, oh, well, you don't have a pearl in your bag, you need a pearl, and then people start considering pearls at all end of the spectrum. Like a High Road Pearl and an Omega Crux, for example, those also have absolutely nothing in common aside from both being pearls. So I was trying to do an illustration of that. Yeah, if the Axiom's too much, throw the phase 2. Yeah. I have a ton of revs and a medium speed. Should I go with an idle or an Axiom? I have narrowed it down to those two. For heavy and long patterns, really either one of them. You see a lot of the... Whoa, I gotta go check that. I'll finish this really quick. But Anthony Simonson throws the idle a lot. Chris Prather throws the idle a lot. Belmo just won with the Axiom, major number 13. All right, I got to check that out. Oh, down all the way to the bottom. Keith, $25. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very appreciated. Appreciate all you're doing. I'll be here. I will be here, and I definitely appreciate it. It keeps me going. I did also just get a new traveling computer because the other one was kind of slowing down, and if I ever decide to take a camera on the road and maybe do some live streaming from the road, this also helps me do all my clickety-clacks on here, writing for videos that I make on the weekends. So this helps go towards that. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much. I know that things are tight for a lot of people right now with the virus and the pandemic and everything. So make sure that you try to take care of the people that you can take care of. We've got some friends that my brother actually, again, for those of you that know, my brother and sister-in-law are a couple of the owners of a brewing company here in Topeka, and them and restaurants and other places are getting kind of hurt by this because a lot of people are staying inside and not really going anywhere even to do takeout or whatever. And so we've done a few things and going to do a few more things to help kind of support where we can support. We're not going to be terribly affected by this. The wife continues to work, and even though I'm off for a couple weeks because it's a state job, we're getting administrative leave, and then even if that runs out or becomes an issue or something, I've still got plenty of vacations, sick days on there. I realize that that's not the case for a lot of people. So again, if you can help people out, help them out. Let's see. The left is always walled. That's hilarious. We're doing jokes, huh? Will you ever do a full in-depth on ball surface, or do you have a video where you recommend for that? There's not really a way to do a full in-depth. When I did my surface versus polish for beginners or ball surface for beginners, that's basically, there's not a whole lot to it. Generally, the more surface you add, the earlier and smoother the ball is going to be, and the shinier the surface is, the longer it's going to go, and the more shape it's going to have. That's kind of the beginning and end of any kind of surface. Anything else I think would be just kind of rambling for the sake of rambling, which I do like, obviously. But there's only so deep that you can go before you start getting into theoretics and making things complicated for the sake of making them complicated just to kind of talk about them. There's a lot of people that do that, and they talk very cryptically, and they try to boil things down so far and get so abstract with stuff that by the time you kind of conceptualize all this stuff, you're so far away from bowling that it's just, people like that are just, they think deeply. They think very deeply about everything, period. Everything. The more complicated something is, the more some people seem to enjoy it. But that's one of those very simple things that if we're starting with bowling and ending with bowling, surfaces is pretty simple from an execution standpoint and from a reaction standpoint, or from the effect standpoint, what it actually does. And I lost my train of thought. I had a point I was going to make, but maybe I'll come back to it if I remember. Basically, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Thanks, James, for sharing my Patreon and Discord information. I do have a couple things I need to post on Patreon. I seem to forget about that because Patreon isn't the greatest It's kind of like a Facebook feed. We use it more for kind of like our gateway into Discord. We have a private chat server. Pretty great community full of people. We do have a free general channel, but it's our community in there. It's just a couple bucks a month, and it's basically to weed out. It's a little bit of support for me, but it's also to kind of weed out the trolls and toxicity you'd get places that have kind of, free forums or something like that. Anybody can sign up, anybody can make an account, and then they can come make fun of all the nerdy bowlers or whatever, but they're definitely not going to pay money to do that. So left is walled. Man, the lefties get too much hate, and I'm telling you this. It was a really hard decision. If I had to, and if there wasn't house shots, if I either had to bowl left-handed or quit, I would probably quit if it was just sport patterns, tougher stuff, because that's impossible. It's hard enough on the left side normally on a house shot. So the left isn't necessarily walled, there's no transition, or there's very little transition. So it can look like it's walled because lefties can stay in the same place all night in league if they're the only ones over there and just throw darts all night. And if they're on and they're staying reasonably accurate, they're going to score well. So how many bowlers do you think you need prepping the lane for team at Nationals? As many as you can put on it, and This is something that Storm B28, if you're still on here, he had mentioned in the video that he bowls with a couple of PWBA members and ex-PBA members or Team USA members or something like that. But their strategy is actually to take plastic and just throw it right down the 10 to 15 board to try to build themselves a shim or build themselves some hold, and then they have two of their shot makers burning up the track from 3 to 5, and so they go on ahead and create the hold so that they can then throw reactive, and they'll continue to build the track as they go, but they'll already have that shim or that hold in the middle. Now for us, because a lot of us ended up using urethane to begin with, we didn't necessarily need so much of a shim or so much hold because the urethane was going to create that for us, and then by the time the urethane wasn't shaping right or wasn't quite getting down the lane, then that's when we were going to go to reactive and then kind of have what we ended up with. So we didn't need to condition the lane so much to start, or we didn't need to do one thing or the other so much. So it really depends on your strategy and what you're actually going to do. We had a lot of big rev rates for us. And so that's why we ended up using not just big rev rates, but people that like to roll the ball too. So using urethane was definitely important, and I think it's going to be important for us again this year, provided we get to bowl, of course. But I think that's going to be the strategy going forward for us, is we're going to end up using a mixture of urethane and reactive. So we're going to work on burning the track in practice and getting oil onto some of the urethane balls. And then the shim will kind of build itself throughout the first game and a half as we just bowl. So that's kind of our thing. Are you going to do a Crux Prime versus an Axiom? Probably not. The Crux Prime's been out it came out in January last year, so I don't think that there'd be a whole lot of interest in seeing the Crux Prime versus the Axiom, and I've already done like 10 or 11 Axiom comparison videos, and I think that people are kind of there's a certain amount of videos that hold people's interest, but by the time they've seen the ball for the 10th time, they start losing interest. So that then explains Scroggins. Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's so tough on sport patterns on the left side that you only have a very specific amount of people that are going to be able to compete on that. And it really, if you remember back when the PBA went from the house patterns to the sport patterns, Parker Bone was winning a lot of stuff, and then as soon as they went to the sport patterns, he kind of fell off the radar for several years until because it's a totally different game, and especially for lefties. Lefties is, dear God, just get the ball down the lane at all costs. Keep it left of the head pin somewhere. And so it's one of those where you just throw it straight left to get it down the lane. And obviously you can't do that on a sport pattern. It's already tight enough in the middle on the left side, and then you make it even tighter. Plus then you add hang outside. And I think in my Wild Streak righty versus lefty video, I kind of explained that a little bit. It's kind of a catch-22 because you got to throw it hard and you got to throw it left to get it down the lane, but you can't throw it too far left and you can't throw it too hard. You've got to kind of roll at the same time to get it back up the hill. It's just kind of rough. Are you guys under lockdown in your town? We're not exactly under lockdown. It's kind of trickled down where they've, all bars and restaurants and kind of public places aside from grocery stores have shut down or gone to take out, dine out only options. So we're not exactly under lockdown. There's some word about something like that happening fairly soon, because there's a lot of people that aren't really taking it seriously and they're still kind of going out anyway. And so I think that as more of these mandates come down and as more things start getting shut down and they see the number of people that are ignoring it, the number of people that are still getting sick or that are still catching and spreading the virus, I think that they're taking more and more aggressive action based on what everybody else is doing. If everybody would just kind of self-isolate and regulate it themselves, I don't think that the government would feel like they have to step in and do it. But I'm not going to talk too much political nonsense here. But the memes are epic. The memes are great. And people that talk about politics, we all have those couple people on our friends list on Facebook that are all politics all the time. And to see the utter amount of confusion over what is going on with our political situation right now is absolutely hilarious. How are bridges not essential? They are essential, but we do safety inspections. So basically, we have our special inspections team, and they look at all the stuff that some things require more frequent or more involved inspections. But most of it is that we travel around and we monitor how the bridges are doing. We monitor the deterioration, and bridges, when they're designed to last 50 years. And so barring some kind of crazy anything, they're going to be there. And we have plenty of them that are older than 50 years old that are still performing fine, and some are not doing so well. Those we keep a closer eye on, but for right now, we have our regular, kind of our regular schedule, and being off work for a couple weeks isn't going to disrupt that very much anyway. I mean, that could happen for bad weather. I mean, last year we had a lot of flooding in the area, and so we had to put some stuff off, and then we had some other things happen that I don't really want to talk about, but we had to delay some inspections for a month, 2 months, something like that. And so, like I said, we do have them on a regular schedule. And then we want to get them, we want to try to keep on that same schedule as much as possible. But for the regular stuff, we look at a bridge once every 2 years. And so going for an extra couple months on something that we know that's in good condition, it's not really that big of a deal for what we actually do. So loving the left-handed reviews. Not many medium-hand lefties on here besides Tamer. Finally got a phase 2 and shot 308 14 second set out. Guess it took too long to pull that trigger. Yeah. I did the same thing with the high road. And I shot 300, 800 something with that on like my second or third one that I had. I'd never had a high road before, and when I first got on staff, I thought, well, I'm absolutely not drilling a high road because that's the most storm staffer thing ever, is to walk around carrying a high road. It's like seeing a motive staffer with a venom shock. It's like, oh, okay, good for you. Woohoo, you heard it here. Mark the time. Oh, probably talking about getting a clean house. Shouldn't have said that. Sparkling water's making me all crazy. Is the idle earlier? You didn't even ask me, so. Yep, infrastructure is essential and should keep working. Yeah, if there's something that, if there's maintenance or something that needs to go on, then it'll happen. And if this starts going on too long, we can't get too far outside of the inspections. But again, it's just kind of routine safety inspections. It's nothing that we're out. It's not like we're putting off something that's required or something. It's not, oh, this bridge is in trouble, but we're on lockdown for a couple weeks, so we can't go look at it. It's not like that at all. So, yep. Is the physics a good ball for a sport shot? It really depends. I mean, it's pretty good for the Nationals doubles and singles shot. Generally speaking, I find it to be a little bit too much pop down lane a lot of the time. But when, you're forced deeper in a tournament and the back ends are tight at all, it can help give you the extra punch that you need. I was in a tournament the other day and I made extra, not the other day, a couple months ago, and I made some extra action, and it got to the point where I was in pretty far. The heads were kind of beat up, and we bowled 8 games. Then we had, a couple more rounds after that, and I think I was using the phase 2, and it got me through the last game of the day, and then we got a couple balls of practice in the first few frames. It was just not. It just decided to give up in between the games, and so I had a couple opens in the first couple frames, and I pulled the physics out and threw 6 in a row just because it actually, it still got down the lane, the angle helped it, but then it actually had that Axiom torque and that punch down lane to get things done. So, what's the best house shot ball in the lineup today? Idle, Pearl, or High Road? The Idle Pearl is pretty fantastic. I've been using a combination of the Wild Streak and the Phase 3. I think that I have put out a lot of Wild Streak videos, and so I probably won't do another one, but in my initial review, I said, well, it's more forward off the end of the pattern. It's going to be a better sport ball. I can't see it really being a better option on house than what I have. And now it just murders everything on both sides of the lane. It's just absolutely insane. So, cool video series, in my opinion, would be doing old ball reviews and seeing how they do on the new oil patterns. I was given a Storm Razor Wire from 2004. I love the ball. It's in great condition. I do have some older stuff. I've actually got a lot of... I've got a depth charge sitting here staring at me. I've got an El Nino 2000, which was my first 300 ball. I've got a Brunswick Red Zone, which is early 2000. I got a Supercharge up there. I've got a Hot Wire that doesn't have any labels on it. And I do have a brand new Zero Gravity sitting here staring at me too. So I've got some old classics. But it could be something fun to do, but as a ball ages too, and I did do it for the depth charge. But as a ball ages, it continues to kind of cure and get a little bit harder. And so ball reaction, it's not necessarily about the ball design so much as it is about the age. So there's a couple of interesting things going on there. But generally, as a rule of thumb, they don't really like us showing off stuff that people can't go out there and get. So, I mean, if I decide to go out and make a Supercharge video and it looks pretty awesome, then, you can't go get one. And so it's just kind of, oh, that looks cool. That'd be nice to have one of those, and that's kind of it. So it's something that'd probably be kind of fun, especially for people that do have some of that older stuff still, but that it's such a limited audience that not really a thing that's on the board. So Oh, Luke and Angel, thanks for the care package you sent me. Much appreciated. Yup. That's what we do. I have a Destiny Solid GB3 Hustle AU and a purple hammer and a plastic ball. My rev rate's like 550 and my speed 7. That's actually better match than you'd think. Yeah, and I agree with James. Skip the Idol or the Axiom. Get an Omega Crux. And I've actually... I started putting a whole lot of games on my wild streak in Phase 3 in a really short amount of time. And this is the other interesting thing that I'd like to touch on. I might make a video on this too, but they started getting a little slow. And so I actually brought out, I think what went to League last week was I took the Halo Burn and the Omega. The Omega had been kind of strong here recently, but as we have, high school bowlers, there's a lot of high school practice going on. They practice every single day, and then they have leagues. All the extra traffic on the lanes kind of tends to make the one house that we bowl at, the back ends get pretty soft. After all that traffic over and over and over again, and so in addition to using the balls a whole bunch and having them get a little slow, there's also more. It seems like more oil, or it feels like more oil for League, and so I took the Omega out, and it's good. I think it's one that's going to fly under the radar just because there's nothing like terribly interesting about it, or there's nothing that really stands out, and especially because they released that, and then all of a sudden we're looking at Nuclear Cell and Axiom now, and so I hope the Omega gets kind of its due attention, because it's not exactly the Prime. People are kind of hit and miss on the Prime because of the spec cover, but the Omega is good. I mean, it's like a smoother physics, and if you've ever had a physics and thought, man, I really love this ball, but it's just too much or too snappy sometimes, the Omega it's pretty well perfect. I mean, it's just one of those, again, it's kind of like I described the High Road Nano when that was out. Nothing stands out about it. It's not long and snappy, it's not early and smooth, it's not super hooky or super aggressive, but it'll get the job done, and it's just one of those blue collar balls that's not exciting. But I mean, the scoreboard is going to be pretty exciting most of the time, so I'm liking that a whole lot more. The more I throw it, the more I like it, and I liked it out of the box to begin with, but I don't need ASIMs a whole lot, but it doesn't really act terribly like an ASIM. It's got that, it does have some torque down lane, but it's not a whole bunch. It's firmer down lane, or it's more consistent sometimes than symmetric balls, which can get a little wiggly. If there's a little bit of carry down, they just don't have the guts to make it kind of ignore the carry down a little bit more. But the Omega is remarkably consistent, and it's comfortable to throw, and I think that's a big thing that people don't pay enough attention to sometimes. They want to see the big back end, or they want something that's really smooth, or they want something that's really this or really that, and don't quite pay enough attention to balls like the Omega that just kind of quietly get the job done. So yes, I'm a big fan of the Omega, and becoming a bigger and bigger fan. I've been watching all your reviews since everything shut down. Thanks. I know I haven't had a whole bunch up here in the last... I haven't put anything up since Monday, I think, but I put a bunch of work into a couple videos. My last one showing kind of the team breakdown, or the team pattern, and how to condition the lanes. I spent several days on that. And I did bowl for 2 or 3 hours getting that set up. And in addition to getting some of the other videos set up, and just writing the video took a couple days because I wanted to make sure that I got everything. I watched the footage quite a bit, in addition to what I saw when I was out there bowling on the lanes, and tried to really hit all the angles that I could think of, and so that took quite a bit more time than I was expecting it to. I really like the way that the video turned out. That's one of my favorite videos thus far out of the 400 and some odd that I've done. So if you haven't checked that out, I am going to do some more lane conditioning videos when I can get back in the bowling center. Um, so lane conditioning or managing transition is something that I like to do quite a bit, and it really did work out for that video extremely well, and it shows it off. It shows it off as good as it can be shown off. Sometimes, like I've said in some videos, I feel like an idiot for trying to describe ball reaction or describe differences between one ball and another. I'm watching on the video and I'm like, oh, they don't really look that different, but I'm saying that they are, and to some people that might sound disingenuous, but at the same time, there's some balls that you can just feel the difference between when you're actually throwing them, and sometimes that just doesn't translate well onto video. This actually translated the best onto video of about anything that I've ever done, period. And so if you haven't checked that video out, go check. I highly recommend checking that one out. It turned out better than I hoped or expected. So brag about myself a little bit there. A little bit, though. Yeah, Nick showed up before the end of the video. Congratulations, Nicky. Have you bowled at Flint Hills Lane? Yeah, down in Emporia. It's been a while. I think those are the easiest lanes to bowl on this year. I averaged 236 on them. Yeah, it's been a while since I bowled in Emporia. It's been, I don't know, 6-7 years since the last time I was down there. So, got a promotion tour that I can't drill yet. Yes, I really like the looks of that. I love my promotion. Absolutely love it on both sides of the lane. Sometimes because of the cover, it can be a little smoothish, and I can't use it as much as I'd like to. But that core is amazing, and with a purely reactive cover on it to kind of create a little bit different look, I would really, really like that. Any whispers of putting a pearl cover on the Wild Streak core or a ball that complements the Wild Streak when they dry up? I'm pretty sure that that's in the works. I'd be stunned if they weren't doing something else. Now they still owe us a hybrid idol, and I hope that they just Black Widow that thing and make 100 of them. I also hope that they Black Widow the Wild Streak and make 100 of those too, because I think that that's another one that's flying under the radar right now. And even Chris Schlummer said, this is one of the best balls that this is one of the best balls in the line right now, and that's really saying something because that line is stacked, or the Roto Grip, the whole brand pretty much is stacked. He said that's one of the best ones that we're making right now, but there's not a whole lot of interest in it, and I can't see why. I mean, I understand that it's purple, so I mean it's not something that really stands out on the shelf or grabs your eye, but oh man, it's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So yes, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do that. I'd be stunned if they didn't. Think the Axiom can replace the Phase 2 as a first ball in the bag? Yes, I'm not sure it can really replace it. Nothing can really replace the Phase 2. But I think if you watch a lot on tour, there's a lot more use of balls like the Idol, and the Axiom has been out there and about since the bowlers were able to use it. I mean, during the World Championship, or the World Series of Bowling qualifying, as soon as they were able to use it, and if they could use it at all, most of the guys were using an Axiom, because I think it gives you the same type of look that the Phase 2 does, but the Phase 2 is, once you get 20 to 30 games on it, it's really, really smooth. It's not promotion smooth, but it's pretty smooth and controllable, and it's kind of like an improved IQ Tour Solid. Well, I think the Axiom, even though it hooks a decent amount more than the Phase 2, it's not super crazy stronger than it, but the Phase 2 is kind of on the higher end of what most of the pros are going to be using most of the time. It's just smooth enough that they can get away with it. But I think the Axiom kind of gives you the same idea that the Phase 2 does. It's just firmer at the break point. And so I think it's something that you don't have to help or baby as much at the bottom if you get deeper. I think that's why Prather's been going to using the Idol quite a bit, because it's a little bit more ball than the Phase 2 is. And I think the Axiom's kind of the same idea. That's what I mean. I think that's why you see Belmo using it quite a bit, and I think it's just going to be used by a bunch of people. So I'm not sure that you can necessarily replace the Phase 2, But I think that, yes, at the same time, you probably could, depending on the situation, depending on how you get along with the phase 2 to begin with. Is there a ball out there that reads late and doesn't have lots of back end? I don't know if there's anything out there that reads late and doesn't have a lot of back end. Most of the time, the balls that don't have a whole lot of back end read earlier. That's why they don't have a lot of back end. They're kind of spreading the hook out throughout the lane. So, let's see. I think somebody asked about the physics getting discontinued. I don't think so. Not yet, anyway. I haven't heard anything about it. Thanks to your Essential 6-ball videos, I've been able to set up an arsenal myself. I have an Axiom, Gravity Evolve, Phase 2 Omega Crux, IQ Emerald. Would you rather have the IQ Emerald or Idle Pearl? Yeah, James can answer that question. I don't get along with the IQ Emerald. For whatever reason. It's one of the most inconsistent balls for me that I've ever thrown, which everybody else gets along with it. So I don't understand why I don't get along with it. But it either hooks at my feet or it's a flat 10. And there's literally no in between. I mean, I drilled another one. I tried a different layout, and I took it out several different times. I did make sure, and I tell everybody else this, you got to put 15 to 20 games on something before you can figure it out, because it'll kind of work in and kind of break in, but it was either a 3-6-10 or a flat 10, and there was just no in between. I had to throw it literally so perfect to get it to strike that it was just insane. And whatever layout it's with, which doesn't make any sense because the IQ Tour, I've got a couple different layouts that look really good on that, and I've gotten used to the IQ Tour, and I really like that one, but the Emerald and I just don't get along at all. So I would say Idle Pearl. Trying to build my college arsenal. I'm trying to decide which one I should get. God, for... Go back up here. I really think that you need a... Honestly, I think that, the Axiom or the Phase 2 could be a one ball in the bag for higher rev rates, and I don't think you can make a bad choice there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I can't imagine not having a Phase 2, but at the same time, with as good as the Axiom is, I can't really imagine not having one of those either. So I think it's just going to be one of those flip a coin things, or whichever one you want more. I think that there's sometimes that people don't give their kind of subconscious enough credit. So if one or the other is standing out to you more, or there's more interest, or you feel like it'd be a better decision, just go with that one. Sometimes you need to put a lot of thought into things, but sometimes if you kind of try to be contrarian and say, well, but if you want an Axiom and that looks good to you, and then you get the Phase 2 because it's the Phase 2, then if it doesn't work out, you're going to be upset at yourself. And there's something to be said for just not being comfortable with the idea of something to begin with. If you can't get 100% comfortable and buy into it completely, it probably has a better chance of not working out than if you just kind of go with your gut and go with your instinct. I never ride the hype train, but it's very rare you see a brand new ball get thrown as much as the Axiom was at the World Series, and by every type of player, that piece might be really nasty. And this is what I mentioned when I was talking about all the Axiom comparisons I did. Towards the end, you could kind of tell that people were getting tired of seeing an Axiom video every single day, as I ended up doing 10 or 11 of them. But once I got down to the last one, and I got down to the IQ Tour Solid, and I compared it against a whole bunch of different things. And every time, on the house shot, it was one thing. But once I got to the Nationals pattern, and I would see, okay, well, this ball's not good from straight, or this ball's not good from deep, or I've got to help this one out a little bit more, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. I didn't have any problem throwing the Axiom from anywhere on the lane. And especially considering that that was my first kind of real day back as a lefty when I did the Axiom filming, and as I continued to improve the next several weeks when I'd come back and film each one of the new balls, there was always something. The Wild Streak didn't have the guts. The IQ Tour doesn't like angle. The Idol Pro was too much from straight, or it was just too much back end period. And every time I kept looking at what another ball would do and what it wouldn't do, the Axiom looked good from. I mean, it consistently. I'm in the house shot. It just consistently hooked a whole bunch. But it did so well across the board where there were kind of defined limits to some of the other balls. And I think that, yeah, if you see the pros take to something, no, most of the time they don't need stuff that hooks that much, but if you see the pros take to something that quickly, they've seen something, or their reps have seen something to really, really recommend that for them or push them a little bit harder. It's like, yeah, they don't buy into the ball hype either. They use what wins, period. And somebody like Jesper Svensson, they love him to throw the newer stuff, the newer resin stuff. But if he wins with the pitch black, he's gonna throw the pitch black. I mean, it just kind of it makes you look stupid to try to throw something new just because it's new and then not really do that well with it. But the Axiom is kind of in that phase two idle Omega Crux kind of. Just a nice blend of everything all the way around, but I think it has the hook potential of the Axiom, and it has the control of the Phase 2, but it has the pop of something that's asymmetric, but it's not as crazy as something asymmetric would be, and so it kind of lives in that Alpha Crux kind of place where it just kind of works all the way around, and it works from whatever angle you want to throw it from. And it's just the thing that stood out to me the most, and that I didn't think I would see from the Axiom, is so much versatility. I thought, well, this is why in God's name do we need a stronger idol? And it is kind of a stronger idol, but it's still, once you get a few games on something, once it kind of tames down and kind of breaks in a little bit, it's the versatility is the thing that stands out about it the most. And that's the thing that I thought, well, it's going to hook too much to really be in play on a whole lot of stuff. And it's not. I mean, Angel has, I think the biggest thing for is seeing Angel throw it in league. And there's a lot of people that tell me, well, it's a whole lot easier to see the differences in bowling balls when she throws them versus when you throw them. I think the difference is easier to see with my reaction now on the left side versus the right side, because revs are going to cover a lot of things up there. I mean, you throw a ball hard enough and you rev it up enough, it's going to go down the lane, and it's going to hook, and it's going to look like the majority of everything else does. But she's always had trouble with the later games of the set in league. She'll do fine for the first couple games, but when they start drying up and she has to move left, something either is too early and too smooth, or it goes too long, and especially that she can't really overcome the angle, and then everything starts hitting flat, and nothing really works out. But with the Axiom, I think for a couple weeks in a row after she got it, her highest game of the night was the last game, and that doesn't make any sense. She shot a couple of 600s, and it just generally looked good. I mean, she only bowls one night a week, and she doesn't get a whole lot of practice, and so 600 is normally a solid night for her. She used to average a little bit higher than that, but I think if she got more practice, she would. But yeah, having something not only continue to look good throughout the night and not burn up on friction, but the more angles she gave it, the better it responded, and almost the stronger it was at the pocket, which is kind of weird, especially for a nano cover. Once it starts digging in and slowing down, it controls the lane really well. But I think that's kind of the thing with the idle sometimes. If you have too much angle, or if you try to make it cover too many boards, or you start getting a little too much friction, it can get soft and a little flat. The Axiom kind of has that physics or phase 2 like quality where it continues to climb up, and it almost looks like it accelerates on the back end. So it's it's the real deal. I don't really ride the hype train either because I drill so much stuff that I find out what works and I find out what I like, and you can generally tell by what everybody's throwing, whether they like it or not. I think some sneak under the radar just because they don't have the shelf appeal, so you don't see them out there a whole bunch. Stuff like the Omega Crux and the Wild Streak, I think, are unfortunately going to fly under the radar. But I think most of the time you can tell what's good by watching people throw it. I don't think that's as true on the PBA Tour because they don't need stuff that hooks that much as often. But yeah, I mean the Axiom's the real deal. Yep, your lefty game isn't bad. Won't take you long to get back in it. I don't think it. I definitely don't think it'll take me long to get back in the swing of things. I just think to build some versatility and not just be a house baby or a city baby or something like that. Because there's a lot of people that bowl really well in town on the same shot that they bowl on, you know, every single week for years, but they don't travel well on house shots, let alone anything tougher than that. And I think I'm kind of at that point right now to where I'm a super house baby. I mean, I know I can make it work where I'm at because that's what I'm familiar with, but once I start traveling and having to do some different things, it's not going to work out as well as it does, say, right-handed, because I've got so many more tricks and I've got so much more experience. I know what to do, and I have a lot better idea what to expect, and I have those tricks that I can make stuff work out if I absolutely have to. And I just don't have any of that left-handed. It's one of those things where if I'm standing here on this pattern in this center, I'm going to look pretty good, but as far as having to adjust too much too often, I don't have it yet. So I think it's less a coordination thing and more an upstairs thing. It's just experience. Let's see. Yep, I have polished and cleaned all my bowling balls up that I use in practice and gameplay. I'm sitting around just relaxing. Yep. And going to the chiropractor still. Take care of everything, please. Yep. Thanks again, Keith, for the donation. Holy crap, I'm behind. Oh, no. And then it skipped. Crap. Tut. I get behind on questions because I start rambling, and I'm glad that James is answering most of them. Kratos, sorry I'm late. I've been very ill lately, been sleeping life away. Hopefully you don't have the coronavirus. Keep all your bartenders in mind, too. They have literally heard Corona, please hold the virus 11,000 times, so they don't like that. Holy crap, I'm way behind. I'll try to catch up, I swear. I do love my wild streak. Yep. Man. Heckin' rambles. I gotta go back up and every once in a while, this thing, I go to scroll down and then it skips to the bottom and then I got to scroll back up and try to figure out where I was at. Ugh. Man. Really behind. Should probably pay James more. Oh crap! I think it. I didn't keep up, so hopefully I didn't miss too many of these. I'll try to. Let's see. You know, when Gage Bowl's opening, I tried going Monday. Yeah, they're everywhere's closed for a couple weeks, and that's by. Watch the news. Watch the news, follow their Facebook page. Yeah, they can't, because of the virus, they can't be open at all. So bowling alleys are going to be closed at least until April. Yeah, my work sponsors 2 teams of mine, and they just donated $1,500 to the 3 centers that I go to on a regular basis, dropping them off the money tonight, and they could definitely use it. So That's awesome possum. People keep telling me I need to stop saying awesome possum, but I always get a chuckle out of anybody that I say it to, and they laugh, they chuckle before they can catch themselves. They hear awesome possum, and they just start laughing before they can contain themselves, and I really like it specifically for that. You're not left-handed, that's why it seems harder. No, I've actually got far enough along with my lefty game that I can think left-handed, and seeing it's not that it seems harder. It actually is harder, and I know that I don't quite have the coordination built up, but when I see the just absolutely puny area that I have to work with, when I see on the right side of the lane, there's so many times that righties throw shots and they know it's going to strike, and so they don't really see it as being as bad of a shot as it really is. When you bowl on the left side of the lane, it's a whole lot more obvious when you throw even a marginal shot. And so I think if everybody could bowl left-handed, they would see ball motion so much better, or understand it so much better. So I think that sometimes lefties understand ball reaction better than righties do, because you have to see it a whole lot more clearly. There's so many righties that'll let go of a ball and think, oh, it's a good shot. And no, it wasn't. It struck because you just have that much room. And there's some different things that you can. There's certain misses that you can get away with more as a lefty. Like if you juice one or you throw it too hard, probably a lot better chance you're going to get away with that than The way that I explain it is, if you want to strike as a lefty, it would be the same idea as a righty trying to flat 10. I mean, we all know that if you just get inside of one and be firm with it and put it straight into the back end, it's not going to have enough time to wind up, and it's just going to hit flat. Well, if you do it on the left side, that's why Jacob Buttriff is so good, because he can just kind of corkscrew it and spin it right into the spot, and then it actually hooks. And so that's something tough to kind of trust on the opposite side of the lane, but at the same time, there's so much more ball reaction on the left side of the lane. The right side kind of mutes and hides a lot of it. Yeah, I'm a lefty two-hander. Dirty looks from all and sundry if I dare to shoot over average. Yep. Why'd you switch from righty to lefty? I've got problems. I made a couple videos a few weeks ago, so it'd probably be easiest to go back and check those out. Those will kind of explain it all. Yes. Definitely make sure to subscribe to Luke's Patreon. He works hard on all these videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Bearded Serb. Since I bowl on a light to medium house shot, the ball I currently use the most is the Eruption Pro Blue. Yeah, that's probably a very IQ Tour-ish type ball. Thanks, Luke. Lucas, you're already gone, I'm sure. But thanks, yep, I appreciate it. Two-handed lefty, you ready for tour? Yeah. Yep, okay, thanks for explaining that. Tut. Think get an IQ Tour for a 42-foot house shot, 15 miles an hour average with medium revs thrower. Will that be a decent ball, or should I look weaker or stronger? 15 mile an hour average medium revs. Probably should look for something a little bit more dynamic. The IQ Tour is the best ball on the planet at getting 9 on a house shot. Now, it's better than S63, as I always say. But for a regular house shot, there's probably better options out there that I would suggest. What's the difference between having the fingers closer versus further from the pin? It really depends. It's not quite that simple. It all depends on your positive axis point. So that's something that's a whole lot deeper subject than people think it is. So I'm probably going to have to skip that one for right now and get to some other questions here. College shots will be a shock than if you don't practice on any sports stuff often. Lots of volume, generally medium, longer patterns. Learn to love surface and control pieces. Yes. How do I fix OBS overcoding issues? I need recording Minecraft gameplay, and because it overcodes, it has problems recording. I have no idea. I use the Elgato software. I have an Elgato HD60 that I use for my stuff, and I just use the Elgato software that it came with, so I have no idea about any kind of OBS, anything, so... When can we go bowling is the question. I have no idea. A couple weeks anyway. So for right now, just have to listen to me ramble. Trying to determine a perfect ball to fit in between the Crux Prime and OG Sonic. Crux is too much, but Sonic's just not enough on the fresh. I'm going to say what I think before I look down at James' answer. Crux Prime and OG Sonic. Phase 3. Phase 3, Idle Pearl's probably not strong enough. Something like the Axiom is going to be a little too strong, so I'm going to say Phase 3. Oh, P2 or Axiom? Yeah, the P2 I could definitely see. The Axiom, I think, overlaps the Prime a little bit too much. Yep, thank you. If you can play straight up the gutter, you have to play straight up at the gutter as a lefty, because the left side plays like a sport. That's why you don't see lefties swinging the ball, because it's not a good idea, not because they can't do it. There's plenty of hook and plenty of friction. If you try to bend the lane as a lefty, it just doesn't work out most of the time. Do you know if the Greater Ozarks tournament will be held this year? They're kind of... they actually had a couple of weekends, and then this whole thing hit, and so they had to scramble and kind of postpone it for right now. They're going to, if at all possible, as soon as they get the release that everybody can kind of go back to normal, they're going to keep going with it. So a lot of this stuff, tournaments, bowling centers, whatever else, just depends on what the state mandates or the country mandates. You know, as soon as they can be back open, they'll be back open, and nobody has any idea when that's going to be right now. So they're just kind of, it's a day-to-day and kind of even an hour-to-hour type thing. So, Axiom or Nuclear Cell for a low-rev player. Either one, really, depending on what you want. Axiom's going to be a little bit smoother, a little bit or it's going to be earlier and smoother, and the Nuclear Cell is going to be longer and flippier. Yep, just bought the Nuclear Cell on Wild Street. Can't wait to use them. Definitely. Hoping my Grab Your Gear leagues don't cancel it. That really doesn't have anything to do with the leagues. It all has to do with whether or not the bowling alley can even stay open. We were actually... Oh, crap. I got more money. I'll finish my thought here. But one of our... earlier this week, one of the scratch league that I bowl on Thursday nights, because they mandated that no more than 50 people can be together in the same time, they actually took our league and they split it in half, and they had one league. They were going to have half the league bowl at an earlier time of the day, and then they were going to do like squads instead of like the whole league at one time. They were going to have half the league at 6 and half the league at 8 or 8:30, so that they could make it work out, but not so much. Oh, yeah, I gotta... Bork. I'm gonna miss all these questions. But I gotta get down to see... Mr. Bill Walker. I knew I recognized the profile picture there. Rocco needs balls. Una needs antlers. Thank you very much, Mr. Bill. Yeah, Rocco definitely needs balls. There was a video on Facebook of this golden retriever that he was getting older, and so they got him like 50 tennis balls or something. He walks into the room and he just stops and like short circuits because he can't handle it. And we got our new foster dog Rocco, who is he's a black lab. He kind of got neglected where he was at, and so he was pretty heavy when he got here a couple weeks ago, but his ball drive is insane. I mean, he would rather play ball than eat or do anything else. And his food drive is pretty insane too. But the ball is much more important. And so he's probably lost 15 pounds already, and he actually looks like he's in pretty good shape now. So Rocco the foster dog likes his balls, and Una likes laying around. Una's actually upside down in her crate right now. I'm saying her name and she's not even flinching. Yep, it's sleepy time for doggos. Oh boy, I gotta scroll all the way back up now. It's gonna be tricky. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Again, appreciate it. That you're snowed in Colorado. So yeah, people in Colorado aren't really gonna make it. They're gonna be inside anyway just because all the snow. So. Oh man, I'm so far behind. Glad James is here. Your work is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Like I said, I am going to take it. I'm not really going to pump stuff out or go into overdrive, and it's been a while since I've actually had like a break or something. We're going to... It was kind of funny. I've seen a lot of the memes and stuff from the no sports or anything, and one of them was day 3 without sports. There's this lovely lady I found sitting on my couch. Turns out she's my wife. She seems nice. So most of the time I'm gone for work Monday through Thursday, and then I get on the computer as soon as I get home, and I kind of noticed that my wife's there at league, and then she sits behind me while I spend all weekend making videos, and that's been solid since like December. So I mean, we had one weekend that we were in Wichita, but that was for a bowling tournament. So, and she was bowling too, and so she wasn't even sitting back there watching. She was on her own lanes doing her own thing. So try to get some cleaning done. Damn it, I said that again. Try to get some organization done and just, relax a little bit, not push so hard. And so hopefully I'll have having some extra time, I'll be able to work on things a little bit more that I don't normally get to work on. But I will have those other Nationals videos up at some point, and then with no new bowling balls or anything, I'll figure out what I want to do from there. But we will see. I do love my wild streak. Yep. Just before my league shut down, shot 268 last 6, 266 front 8, so I had 14 strikes across 2 games. 9th frame, I topped the ball, left the 4-7, chopped the 7, shot 225, used the Astro all 3. I have actually chopped the 10 off the 610 for 799 one time. Fun fact. Yeah, thank you for the Q&A. This is a nice breath of fresh air with everything going on. Yeah, and everywhere you look, they're talking coronavirus all over the place, and so I thought if we just can have a regular live stream. I know that it's the biggest thing in the world right now, but I scroll on Facebook and it's nothing but coronavirus like the whole time. So let's talk a little bit of bowling and stuff in general. The memes once again are top notch. But yeah, we're kind of avoiding too much of the craziness here. Idle Pearl looks great in my house. I've got some EBI stuff that needs to die, but I'll be grabbing one. Yep, Idle Pearl's pretty amazing. I had a 798 and a 760 just before the shutdown. I was on the verge of an honor score for sure. Yeah, I had 847 on the table with my wild streak a couple weeks ago, and then I left the bucket and took the 2.5 off of it for 809. So that was a little disappointing. All I had to do was stay clean for 820, and 820 is kind of the number that, if it's not just barely squeaking out an 800. 800 is hard enough to get in the first place. So if you shoot 800, that's just good enough by itself. But, once you're 820 or over, you've really, really done something. It's not like you just kind of eked it out or squeaked it out or whatever. And luckily enough, I think this is the first time that I've gone into the 10th frame not really needing much of anything. It wasn't a question of if I was going to shoot it, it was how big was it going to be, and it was not nearly as big as it could or should have been. But oh well, 800's 800. Oh, yes. Quick poll. Would you like to do this again next week just to chat about bowling? I'll probably do a couple extra live streams, and I have some other stuff that I would like to do. Keyword is like to do. I have my other channel now that I haven't done anything with. It'd be really fun to do a beer frame again because I haven't done that for a while, and especially with it being on my other channel, I can be more unfiltered than I'd need to be here. Plus, I've got some pretty awesome scotch right now, and I have this other one that Boulevard makes. It's a tequila lime gosa that's pretty good. But because I've been so busy with the bowling channel, I haven't had much time to do much with that. It's more of a craft beer and whiskey type channel. Because of all the things that Storm does with the youth, they didn't really want to kind of mix the two on this channel. But I have some fun things that I would like to do that I can't necessarily or shouldn't necessarily do on this channel that I'd like to do on the other one. So I've got some ideas in that direction. I think it'd be really fun to have a beer frame and kind of cut loose even a little bit more than this, even just doing the live stream here. But yeah, I will probably do another live stream here again. I imagine you'll see a lot of live streams from all over the place. But yep, I'm digging the jersey though. Miami Vice colors, unless I'm colorblind. No, I think it is Miami Vice colors. I'm not entirely sure, but I like these colors in general. I think, as you can tell, I really like blue, and I like just this general teal color. And I've really come to like pink the last couple years. So there's an inside joke with the Hello Kitty thing, and I used to have a poster out here, and it looked just a little bit too juvenile to leave it out here, but. Because we're serious. We're bowlers. We got to take bowling seriously. But no, I really do. I like these colors in general. So, yep, they're not. And yeah, I didn't go for Miami Vice colors. I just went for like my favorite colors and made a jersey out of them. So, like the Phase 3 Game 3 where I got to get more of the left gutter and send it right. Yeah, the Phase 3, I can't. It's hard to play straight with, almost. Because it really likes getting deep and being wound up. When you just give it the business at the bottom and fling it right, that's when it's at home. That's what it likes the most. I'm wondering how much it would cost to build a bowling alley in my basement. Yeah, there's been some stuff on Facebook about that, and apparently, it's a 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, something like that. P3 hates wet dry. Yeah, so that's kind of why you have to get in and play one or the other. And it's really not a fan of dry, but I've been using that a whole lot myself. So, oh yeah, to actually put a specific lane, yeah, like an actual bowling lane, not just something kind of rudimentary or just kind of for the heck of it. Yeah, if you actually put a bowling lane in, yeah, that's going to be a lot. So, a lot. This is nice, listening to bowling talk and eating Bluebell. I can't really do much of the ice cream because it puts me to sleep. Bread and dairy just doesn't work well for me. I don't have any kind of reactions or anything to it. It just puts me to sleep. So... is the Omega smooth on a 40-ish house shot right-handed tweener? It's gonna be smooth on the majority of things. It's just a nice controllable ball. Like I said in the reviews, it's got just enough pop. It's smooth and controllable with just enough angle on the back end to kind of make it work on a whole bunch of things. So I keep liking it more and more the more I throw it. So, yeah, I'm going to detox so we got some time, right? Yeah, got a little bit of time. Be a little bit of time before you can detox it, I think. But how many revs? About 450 right-handed, about 350 left-handed. You're the best. Other guys say something and the ball does the opposite in the video. I've noticed that a lot, that people will just kind of parrot the the design intent, and then you're watching it on the screen, and it's like, well, that's not even close. It's obvious that they're just reading they're reading whatever the words were on the website, no matter what the ball does for them. And now sometimes it doesn't show in the video as well as I'd like it to. I think I think it might have been the Axiom and the Idol that I just did. I was trying to say, well, you can see the Idol is quite a bit rounder than the Axiom, and I'm watching it doing virtually the same thing on the lane, and I'm going, it's rounder, trust me. I'm thinking in my head watching the video, I'm like, I'm going to get called out on this. Somebody's going to say something about, oh gosh, they kind of look the same to me. Well, they kind of do on video. But anybody who has thrown them, I think James could definitely tell you the Idol is a different look. It is rounder than the Axiom. It's a, on the lanes in your hand, it's a fairly substantially different look, because the applications that you'd use them for are quite a bit different. It's not that the balls themselves are terribly different. It's just that when there's certain, the reactions that they favor are are a lot further away from each other than you'd think. But yeah, looking at it on the video, it's like, I mean, I can see a small difference, but I'm looking really hard, and I can read ball reaction pretty good, and I can't see much of a difference. But I know that there is a difference there since oh crap. Angel, I'm in trouble here. I forgot to bring down the power cord for the streaming laptop. I knew I forgot something. So, help. This could be a problem here really quick. It could get fun. Yep, 7 minutes left. I'm in trouble. Oh, no, I brought it down here. Where's it at? Oh, Bork. Okay. Never mind, I'm good. I forgot to turn the power strip on. That's what it was. I'm kind of surprised my camera's still working. Surprised everything's still working. Interesting. Oh. I'm looking for a new pair of bowling shoes that have interchangeable slides and heels. Which pair would you recommend? Definitely the I've got the new, this is the 9 model, but I've got in my bag I've got the 9 HT BOA color shifts. Those are amazing. There are some other cool options out there, but I'm definitely in love with the 9 HT color shift BOAs. Why don't we see more of the Phase 3 on tour? It's not a sport pattern ball. You're definitely not going to see it on TV. You might see it on... you might see it during qualifying if you watch Flow Bowling or something, but the more likely ball that you're going to see is the Idle Pearl. When they need that kind of longer, flippier type look, the Idle Pearl is rounder and a little bit more controllable than the Phase 3. The Phase 3 is a little bit too much crazy, and then by the time you kind of settle it down, take the surface off or drill it differently, you end up with an Idle Pearl anyway, so you might as well just throw the Idle Pearl. So it's a little bit too much length and a little bit too much pop most of the time. They need more control. Even when they need a longer and cleaner look, they still need it more controllable than the Phase 3 is going to allow the majority of the time. I tried an Axiom during demo days, but I like the nuclear cell and Omega Crux better. Wonder what I was missing. Probably nothing much. I mean, it's not... it's not really a super house shot ball. Something like the nuclear cell and a house shot is just going to visibly look more dynamic, and so it's going to catch your eye more than... most of the time when people go to demo days, they look for back end. The more back end a ball has, the more impressed they are with it. It's like, oh, wow, that ball really hooks. I mean, yeah, but... Axiom or nuclear cell for a low rev player, either one. I think I'm getting back to some of these questions. Interesting. I must have scrolled up too far earlier. You said that about the Sonic and now the Emerald. Yeah, going back 30 minutes to where I was talking about the Emerald. Yeah, the Sonic was it just R2S Pearl on stronger symmetric cores. I think it's just the core is a little bit too much for the cover. The cover is a little too clean for as early as the core wants to go. So I think it just fights against this stuff a little bit too much for me anyway. How would you compare the snap lock to the Intense? The snap lock is a little more like a hook set type reaction. The Intense was a little bit more continuous. They weren't terribly different as far as hook potential goes. High rev, low speed here. I think I need something in between the virtual gravity evolve and the gravity evolve and a victory road for house shot. Yeah, there's a lot of things that could go in between a gravity evolve and a victory road. Idle Pearl's a pretty easy one to stick in there. The Wild Streak I've been throwing a whole lot. Phase 3, stuff like that. Yeah, they're talking about the Sonic and the IQ Emerald, exact same cover and similar cores, very minor differences. Yeah, they're ultimately the Sonic just has more differential than the IQ Emerald, so they're gonna roll heavy and pretty similar. There's just more flair with the Sonic. So anyway, yeah, everybody just tried knocking the shine out the P3. Did that and it just puked throughout the whole lane, wondering if it's me or just the P3 doesn't like surface adjustment. It's kind of, yeah, like James says, it's kind of sensitive to surface changes, and it does not like dry lanes. It does not like high friction lanes at all. It's gonna puke all over the place on higher friction lanes. So the one good thing about that is if you can use it, you can use it, and if there's no marginal with the Phase 3, you don't have an okay look with it. It's either on fire or it should go back in the bag, and it'll tell you that. So how different is the Axiom to the Phase 2? Phase 2 is more kind of a rounder climbing motion. The Axiom is more aggressive on the back end. It's more kind of aggressive overall. The Phase 3 is kind of, like I said, that gradual kind of climbing motion. I gave a guy my 2000 pat to knock the shine off at the P3, and he shot his first 315 years. Yeah, if you have the volume for it, and you can kind of smooth it off by adding some surface, then yeah, that definitely makes sense. I have a Marvel S. Would an Axiom be too much overlap? The Marvel S is the most similar, or the Axiom is the most similar ball to the Marvel S since the Marvel S, but it also hooks more. So it really depends, and especially with the age of the Marvel S, yeah, I think like James said, it would be a good replacement. And I think that because of the age of the Marvel S, the Axiom is going to hook more just in general. Now, if you drilled a fresh Marvel S with a fresh Axiom, they're going to be a whole lot more similar than they are. I imagine that you've got several hundred games on your Marvel S, so I don't know that I'll have room in my bag, but I can't help it. Gonna put an Axiom in my bag the first chance I get. I don't ever have room in any of my bags. When we were going through looking at bowling balls and all kinds of stuff that I have, and every time something new comes out, and I'm like, well, crap, I really like throwing this ball, but I'm gonna put the new one in there. So. If you had to choose between Phase 3 or Axiom on THS, would you prefer to purchase low rev myself? Either one of them could work, really. I would prefer the Phase 3 on a house shot because the Axiom is just a little bit too much ball for me, especially on the right side of the lane. But if you have lower revs, like Angel takes her Phase 3 in Axiom to league, and it just depends on... She's been throwing the Axiom more than the Phase 3. But is the Axiom good for sport shot? I mean, it really depends on your game, and the pros are throwing it. All the pros are throwing it on everything, so I would have to say yes. What would make a Phase 3 hook less, or is there nothing that can do that? I mean, You can sand it to kind of smooth it down, but bowling balls are, I've always said that bowling balls are like golf clubs. There's so many people that just buy the ball that they want and then they try to do stuff to it to make it fit what they're doing instead of just buying the ball or using the ball that that makes the most sense or that fits the best. I mean, if there's all kinds of things that you can do with a 7-iron too, but if what you really should be hitting is a 9-iron, if you can just take an easy swing with a 9-iron and get the job done instead of having to, take a 3/4 swing and be soft or, do something different with your hands to make a 7-iron work. I mean, just throw the right ball, I think. And what really drives me insane, I understand getting a ball and kind of tailoring it to your game, because I know that a lot of people, whenever they get something that's factory shined or whatever they do, they always take whatever they get to the same surface. So if somebody likes 3000, for example, if a ball comes out of the box at 2000, that's going to be too chalky for them, so they take it up to 3000. Or if a ball comes out with the factory shine on it, they take it down to 3000 to kind of calm it down. That's generally where they like stuff. So there's that side of things, but then nothing makes me crazier than, people saying, well, I've got this ball and I've got this ball and I've got this ball. And then, I'm really looking for something different. Or this is a hole in my bag right here. And so we pick the ball out, and then they say, oh, well, I want it to do this or be more like this. I'm like, well, that's already what you have in the bag. You want this ball to be different. Or then, we'll get it drilled, and they'll come back and they'll say, well, gosh, they'll buy something like a UFO because they don't have that kind of look in their bag. But then it's like, gosh, I just can't ever throw it. It's so strong. Like, well, yeah, you got it specifically to be different from all your other stuff. But there's a lot of people who will buy a bunch of seemingly different stuff and then want it to all work on the house shot so that they can. It just seems like they want to have variety in what they throw instead of actual having certain spots or certain holes in the bag filled with the right ball. So that's what. And if you don't get to throw it very often, then that sucks, but at the same time, you don't want to force it to, you don't want to have to throw it all the time. I don't hit a 5-iron very often, but the one time I need my 5-iron, I'm going to be glad it's in the bag. So, is the Axiom more versatile than the physics on a sports shot? Like, can I throw it from any spot more consistently than a physics? I don't know. That's a pretty open-ended question. Yeah, James said there's such a wide range of patterns that there isn't a single option to that question. Saying sports shot isn't like saying house shot, and even saying house shot isn't like saying house shot. There's so many. I remember, for those of you that watch Brad and Kyle, you'll know Packy Hanrahan. Packy is from the area, see him at tournaments quite a bit. And he was asking me one time, because he's been on several of their videos, and that kind of got his wheels turning and thinking a little bit. And he says, well, is it hard answering certain questions, or he just had some general curiosities about the whole YouTube thing? And I said, well, yeah, this was while I was working on my sports shot, my Sport Essentials collection. I said, well, it's kind of interesting because I'm working on this one right now. I said, I'm trying to work on kind of like Sport Essentials. And I said, when somebody asked me, what's the best ball for a sport shot? And he kind of blinked and he said, oh, well, it's a good thing there's only like 8,000 different sport patterns. I'm like, I know, right? So yeah, that's kind of the deal, is there's so many different things out there that there's just not really a good answer for that. It's like when somebody asks me, how should I lay this ball out? It's like, I'm not going to be any help to you. You're going to have to get somebody, your pro shop operator, who knows your game, who knows the conditions you bowl on. It's just like asking, what size shoe should I get? It's like, well, that's nothing I'm going to have anything to do with. Whatever fits, and I have no idea what fits. It's your foot. So it's kind of one of those type of things, unfortunately. I think that anybody that answers those kinds of questions, or if you say, I'm getting this ball, what kind of a layout should I put on it? Anybody that actually answers that question is just trying to look good, I guess, or sound smarter than they really are. I mean, the smartest answer is that's between you and your pro shop, or something like that. It depends on the kind of sport pattern. It depends on a whole bunch of things. And it could be different for two different people. I mean, on the same exact pattern, the physics might be more versatile for somebody else than the Axiom, and vice versa. So, yeah, it's kind of, some questions are just a little too hard to answer, and I don't want to go on ahead and answer them anyway, just so that I can sound like I know what I'm talking about or something. So. Which ball is the prettiest in your opinion? I like the Phase 3 because it's kind of, it's got that whole teal violet. Black's one of my favorite colors too. So the Axiom blueberry muffins. Yup, Axiom smells like the All Road. They're kind of close because the All Road is, what is it? I don't have the box. Maybe I do have the box. Box. Where's the box? Yeah, it's blueberry. Yeah, the All Road's blueberry and the Axiom's blueberry muffin. And I don't really, the IQ Tour Fusion was blueberry muffin, and that was blueberry muffin. The Axiom's more blueberry than muffin. So, okay, here's the question. Oh boy, I love these. Here's the question staff guys have a hard time answering. I have a GB3 that's my first ball on house. How is that compared to the Wild Streak? I know it's more clean, but I don't love to swing it. Ugh. Well, the GB3 is kind of a bigger core. It's quite a bit bigger core than the Wild Streak. So, a GB3 is more like a supersonic or an idle pearl or something like that, and the Wild Streak is high RG, built to go long. A Wild Streak is basically like a solid high road. So you're trying to compare like high road to GB3, which would be like comparing a high road to an idle pearl, kind of conceptually speaking, and there's not many similarities there. So they're great compliments, I imagine, but yeah, there's no comparison really there, because they're kind of two different balls, two different ideas. I took a whiff of an All Road at the pro shop the last time and nearly threw money at the guy for it. Lol. I read it as lol. I don't read it as LOL for some reason. P3 smells delicious. Yes, I agree with that too. The wife thinks it smells like great big league chew. That'll tell you how old we are. When I get back on the lanes, I'm thinking about giving the pitch purple a try. I kind of like it. Only 11,000 times. Yeah, only 11,000 times. Oh, man. Wow, I'm really behind on questions. Yeah, the bartenders are not going to be, yeah, I'd like a Corona, but hold the virus. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Or I like my coronavirus with a little Lyme disease. Derp, derp. Paid James about $3.50. I need about $3.50. Yep. $3.50? What's $3.50? $3.50. $3.50. Yeah. They had to. If anybody is in the Storm Rotor Grip Bowling Balls for Sale group on Facebook, which if you're not, you should be, you'll know Tani Shabani. And I was literally quoting a line from Friday, the first Friday movie, when when Ice Cube's in the refrigerator, his dad comes out and's talking to him about it, and then Tani posted that later about the whole coronavirus thing. It's like people in their houses right now, like, every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. Yeah. I quote movies. It's just a thing. I don't like my purple. I played 3 games with it and hate it. You got to give it more time than that. You got to give it some time. Any blind options you would give for a Sport Sharp ball? I'm looking for more shape overall because my High Road X sucks. High Road X is going to suck on sport patterns. You'll never, ever see anybody throwing a High Road X on sport patterns. So I can definitely understand that. But again, the whole, there's no such thing as a sport shot ball, really. What do you think of the twist bowling ball? I know nothing about a twist bowling ball. Get James full benefits. He gets the same benefits anybody else that's doing something in bowling does or gets. Angel, yeah, I dislike the color purple and not a huge fan of urethane. And her pitch purple actually looks really good for her. If you go back and watch her pitch purple review, it was kind of autopilot. It was pretty amazing. Would the Axiom handle wet dry? Yes, anything nano. Have a few older guys who use plastic and urethane. Usually had to go to my purple hammer. The Axiom is pretty good at blending wet dry because it's a nano based cover, and nano is always going to be. Oh man, the wife dislikes the awesome possum. I said that like an hour ago. Glad I'm getting all these questions so quick. What's the worst storm ball you've ever thrown? In my opinion, the Skyrocket was far too over-under for me. It was possible for me to use until I put 3,000-ish on the thing. I actually like the Skyrocket. The worst storm ball I've ever thrown is the matchup orange, black, and silver or whatever. That thing was terrible. The Diablo is probably the second worst. It's kind of funny because when Reactor came out to begin with, I couldn't stand it. I tried the fired up, and all it would do is just, jerk and then quit on the back end. And so it was nothing but flat 10, washout, 2810, could not stand Reactor. And then the Diablo was the very next one. The fired up had Reactor Pearl on it, and then the Diablo had Reactor Solid. And I went 810, strike 810, and then I switched companies for a while. I thought, man, if this is... Everybody was getting so excited about Reactor, and I'm like, oh my god, if they start putting this on stuff, I'm not going to be able to bowl. I didn't like Reactor at all. And then I think I threw... then I started throwing Brunswick stuff, and then I went to Hammer stuff, and the Hammer stuff never lasted longer than 3 months. I'd get 3 really good months out of a ball, and I didn't have a single Hammer ball that I didn't shoot an honor score with. But the balls would last about 2.5 months and then would suck, and I'd have to buy something else. And so then I started throwing Motive, and Covert, Revolt, Sigma Tour, Silver Tribal was still like the best 3-ball bag I've ever had. Now, Phase 3 Wild Streak and Promotion is pretty stacked too. But when I think about legendary league bags or just legendary anything bags, the Covert, the Sigma Tour, and the Silver Tribal would cover anything that I went out to. There's quite a few tournaments that I just took those 3 balls to because I'm like, well, I don't need to take anything else. Yeah, the Hustle Pow was pretty bad too. Was not a fan of the Hustle Pow. Now, and the funny thing is, a lot of people that tell me they love the fired up and the Diablo, and I actually saw somebody throwing the matchup, that orange matchup, and it looked really good for him. I'm like, gosh, that would have been nice to have that. Let's see. Which bowling ball do you guys recommend for a really high hook? The UFO is going to be the strongest ball on the market, pretty much. There's a lot of people saying the Versatility from Global 900 hooks more, but that and the UFO are on the high end of the hook spectrum. So, yep, Ryan is probably a matchup pearly orange one. You're damn right. For me, the hot sell, freaking yuck truck. That's funny. I haven't heard that before. How's promotion sales going? Not many pros throwing them. Yeah, I've heard that one several times, and everybody always kind of comments that Belmo never throws his own stuff. I think that they're fine. I haven't really heard anything about the promotion. I really like mine, and there's a lot of other people that have them that really like them and can't imagine not going to a tournament without them, and I definitely can't going to one without them. But it's different. it's like throwing urethane without throwing urethane, and I think pros generally like to have a better idea what's going on with the lanes. The pro motion is very hard to switch to or switch from because it reads the lane more than the pattern, or it mutes the pattern so much more than typical reactive balls do. It's not nearly as sensitive to it's not nearly as sensitive to oil, and it's not nearly as sensitive to dry as other reactive stuff is. So when you're throwing truly just pure reactive stuff, you can tell exactly what the lane's doing. The ProMotion tends to, like I said, really just mute that. And so it can be hard to change to that ball, or especially go from the ProMotion to something else. And so I think, uh-oh, $5. I got $5. Man, it's all the way down there. Oh, it's not too far down there. Oh, gosh, yes it is. Never mind, this is bad. James, $5, Nerf gun time. Crap. Just wait for the floor to start squeaking. She's coming down here to shoot me. Oh, Bork. I got to scroll all the way back up here and try to answer questions and get shot at the same time. Yeah, if you want to see me get shot with a... Message deleted. Interesting. Interesting. Thanks for filtering that out. Yep, this floor squeaking. Here she comes. Dogs are getting roused up. Thank you guys for all the info. Absolutely. Gosh, I got to scroll. Okay, I'm missing questions again, but I'm answering so late that... yeah. So if anybody wants to see me get shot with a Nerf gun, and actually, maybe we could get the other Nerf guns out. We've got like a fully automatic assault rifle. It takes like 90 batteries or something like that. Probably ought to get it out just to show them off. Show off what like the potential is. If you pay for the batteries, she missed. How could you miss? He was 3 feet in front. Okay. So if you want to see the options that of things I can get shot with, she can bring out the big. Go get
we don't have deep batteries though.
Well, yeah, but just go get. Yeah, but if people pay more, then we can get deep batteries. I don't know why I'm suggesting this though. I'm the one getting shot.
Why is there only one light bulb in here?
Huh? Because, well, the one burned out, and then the other one by itself was quite a bit brighter.
There's like 50 light bulbs up there.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, the other one just got burnt out earlier when I came down to set all this stuff up, and so I had to replace it with what I had at my disposal. So, low rev lefty should drool over short patterns. Yup. James is great. Plug his channel. Yeah, definitely. Shimwrecker Enterprises. Oh, Bork. Yeah, it's still got the batteries in there. Okay.
Why don't you take them out because they're going to corrode?
Yeah, probably. It's probably. I don't even know how to get them out. Yeah, there's screws. But yes, this is the. And they've got clips. They've got clips too. You stick the clip in there, the dark clip that hangs all the way down. And so yeah, this is a fully automatic assault Nerf. Which will probably get me demonetized, even though it's a Nerf firing apparatus.
I could just beat you with it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that for... Oh, yeah, and you can't see it because I've got the logos in the way. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Interesting. Yep. Shimwrecker Enterprises... James takes a more methodical approach to getting videos out. I kind of keep pumping them out because I like all those 5s and 10s of dollars I get from the YouTube ad revenue. So James bowls a whole lot more than I do. He had to he took on the James bowls in the UBA on the East Coast, and they're always at UBA events and stuff, and he challenged for the World Championship belt again last weekend or the weekend before. That was fun to watch on Bowl TV. Dennis Killo's a beast, though. That guy is rough. I mean, James knows what he's doing, and to watch guys continue to just throw strikes and strikes and strikes and strikes, and James didn't really do anything wrong, and Dennis just outlasted him. Dennis is a beast. James is also a beast. But Dennis is the real deal. So when James takes that belt from him, it's gonna mean that much more, because that guy's legit tough. What would be a tip to get colleges to notice me since I'm newer to the sport and I start my senior year next year? You just gotta. It's just like anything else. If you perform well in school, colleges are always looking for new recruits, and there's always new colleges getting bowling programs now. So it's become a pretty popular thing, and so there's more and more colleges that are starting bowling programs, and they're always looking for people. So, you know, you might make a promo video or something like that, or just, I mean, you're just gonna have to learn and bowl well. So. You're going to be cleaning a lot. You know that, right, Angel? Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cleaning, but realistically, I do have a couple of weeks here, and we don't stay terribly far behind on that. So, I mean, we could deep clean the entire house in a couple of days. We need to organize some bowling ball stuff. More of it's just organization, more than anything. And dog hair is kind of a normal part of life, but generally we keep stuff pretty clean anyway. So, oh boy, James is deleting all kinds of messages here. Y'all better behave. How great would it be to have a bowling alley in your house right now? No thanks. Now I connect. I'm kind of forced to take a break from it, so it's not terrible. I will kind of miss not filming every week, but at the same time, sometimes you grind on something for so long and it kind of turns into an obligation. And so even if you want to take a week off or you need to take a week off, you really can't. And so now we're all just kind of forced to take a couple weeks off from everything. And so I'm going to use most of it to kind of recharge and kind of slow things down, because it's just been for the last couple of years, actually. I thought when my daughter graduated high school, things would get easier and kind of slow down a little bit. Oh, no, they got so much worse. So much worse. Or not worse, really. They've gotten a lot better. They've just gotten a lot busier at the same time. And sometimes being busy is nice because it doesn't give you time to just kind of sit down and get bored or let things get stagnant or whatever. You're always just going. But at the same time, you need to slow things down every once in a while, and we just don't. So this is actually going to be kind of nice, theoretically speaking, as long as it's only going to be 2 weeks or so, and whatever else. I mean, if this extends too far or gets too crazy, it might get a whole lot more interesting than we think it's going to be right now. I think Luke should do opinion videos again, like the ones from the Sonic and the Drive. Yeah, they're not super excited about that, and there's a lot of bowling stiffs out there that want everything to be super serious and technical, and people get all opinionated and hipsterish about stuff, and nobody apparently realizes that you don't have to watch every video that I make. If you're not interested in the video, don't watch it. That being said, I would love for everybody to watch all of my videos, but there's going to be some stuff that comes out that's not up your alley, and if you're not interested, then I don't blame you for that, because there's a lot of channels that I subscribe to, and I don't watch a lot of their videos because it's not necessarily I'm not interested, or something. There's not something that interests me about every single video. So instead of watching a video that I'm not interested in and then disliking it and complaining about it, I just won't watch the video if I'm not interested. So, oh, College Pro, okay, sweet. In my opinion, 800 is the old 700, kind of. Yeah, because 700 was really hard to get to back in the day. So, can you make a video of the Storm High Road? I've done actually several High Road videos. If you go back in my videos list, or just search High Road in my name, I actually have several High Road videos out there. So 771 is my high 3 game. I think my first first 700 was a 705, and my second one was a 749 with my first 300. So, then I can't remember what I eventually got up to before I shot my first 800. So, oh boy, I just hope Luke hearts the Axiom's fragrance. It's all I aim for now. I keep talking on the bowling Chad, by the way, is Chad McLean, who Mr. Technical Director from Storm. He's probably not still here because I think I'm about 45 minutes behind on questions. I do heart the Axiom fragrance. It's all I aim for now. Interesting. I got to remember that sometimes important people watch these things, and I've got to kind of self-regulate because I can get to rambling and just say stuff without really thinking about what I'm saying. Chad makes some pretty awesome stuff, and obviously not everybody's going to like everything, but yeah, the fragrance is pretty awesome. If you keep doing like fruity fragrances, I'm going to like them because I'm kind of fruity myself. So let's see, what ball gives you more bang for your buck in terms of usability on different patterns, Axiom or physics? Yeah, that's tough. The Chad has entered the chat. Yes, we both actually like the scent of the Axiom. Yep, definitely. The Axiom, yeah, the bowling Chad. The Axiom it's pretty special. And like I said, I think people got Axiom fatigue from all the videos that I made, but at the same time, it helped me learn so much more about the ball when I was comparing it to several different bowling balls. And so yeah, it's the real deal. Okay. Peppermint. Oh, heck yeah. Peppermint would be good. The X Factor ace was spearmint, if I remember right. So yeah, peppermint would be an interesting one. Can we detox ourselves with this virus like we detox oil from bowling balls? No, I did see a Chuck Norris meme where it said that Chuck Norris has contracted coronavirus, and now the virus is on a 2-week quarantine from Chuck Norris. So, man, going back to the thing, the scents, the strawberry from the X Factor Triple Extreme is still the best ever. So, I'm going to detox the tequila out of my liver for these next 2 weeks. I also saw another meme, which was great, that said, by the end of this whole quarantine thing, we're either going to have the house completely cleaned and have our chakras all all lined up and, be in great shape or whatever, or we're going to gain 20 pounds and become alcoholics. So, yeah. Definitely going to drink plenty of water myself, and we have a recumbent bike that we got that I haven't gotten to use a whole bunch because I've been sitting still making bowling videos. But I am going to have some scotch. The wife found me some monkey shoulder, and I've got a bottle of Glenlivet 12. So she got me some other stuff, some little sampler packs too. So gonna have some of that. I'm gonna do a lot of writing, and could be interesting. Melon Mint is pretty good. Yeah, the Melon Mint on the IQ Tour Emerald. Again, the Emerald and I don't get along, and one of these, I think that's going to be the project. Because when Josh Tajiri stopped by headquarters, they drilled some stuff for him, and he was on that video with them, and they did some layouts for him, and he ended up really liking that. He shot 830 something with whatever ball he was throwing that they drilled up for him out there. So that might be one of the projects while I'm out there. Help me figure out the IQ Emerald, which shouldn't be hard. It's like saying help me figure out the Phase 2 or an idle pearl or something that should just be a hit for virtually everybody. And that ball and I absolutely don't get along at all. So maybe they can figure that out for me. Kangaroo scented. What the crap is? I don't even know. I think the lack of good depth perception will cause the ball to look a lot more like other balls. And sometimes I think that's pretty accurate. Sometimes you can't see the whole perspective with video, and it's also hard to see a ball slowing down on video as well. So A kangaroo ball would be too jumpy. But dumb tiss. I like it. We might have to do something fun like I got some pretty good memes in my phone that I might have to get out too. Just, yeah, we talked about Axiom P2. James covered that one. Oh man, I'm going through a lot of them right now. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Oh, the Marvel S is brand new. Thanks for answering the questions, Luke. Yeah, 45 minutes past the fact. I'm glad James is here. Because I see a question, and like I was telling Hank Boomershine, actually, is one of the brains behind a lot of the stuff that comes out at Storm. He's a really technically minded guy, and he's really big into ball reaction. He's pretty good at what he does. And he was kind of making the rounds with my regional sales manager, Mr. Brett Cooper, probably a month and a half ago now, and he stopped in, and I got to talk to him. Got to talk to him some, and I completely and totally forgot where I was going with that. Absolutely forgot where I was going with that. I had a point. Oh no, rabbit trails. He stopped by and we got to talking, and my sales manager said, "So do you have any? You know, we're moving pretty quick." And he said, "Do you have any questions for Hank before we get out of here?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I'd have questions for him if he wasn't standing right here in front of me." So we talked a little bit more, and then said something with my sales manager's like, "Man, I gave you all that time. I let you know he was coming, and you couldn't come up with some questions." I'm like, "Well, I have several like hour or 2 hour long questions. I don't have any 15-minute questions." Because all rabbit trails kind of connect in my head, and when I'm going to catch the rabbits. And so when I see a question on here and I see a rabbit trail going off, I'm going to go catch the rabbit before I get to the rest of the questions. So, I mean, I'm going to pet him and let him go, but I'm going to catch him. Or her. Could be a female rabbit. I don't know. Wow, how do you compare the no rules to the nuclears? I imagine you mean the no rules pearl and the nuclear cell, and I think, yeah, the no rules is more in the realm of an Omega Crux, and that just hit me too. That I actually have an extra, that's why I like the Omega. That's why I like the Omega. Because a pearl, a polished Omega Crux is a lot like a no rules pearl. Thank you, James. I just put that together now that we're talking about it. I actually have an extra no rules pearl because it was kind of that perfect. It's clean up front, and it was firm. It was consistent at the break point, but it wasn't, and it hooked enough, but it didn't hook too much, and it was just kind of perfect all the way around. It was clean up front, and it was definitive down lane, or it had definition to the movement, but it wasn't strong necessarily. It was just one of those balls that controlled the lane very well, and it was very easy to throw, and that's what the Omega really is. Some shine on Omega Crux is going to be the closest thing you've got to a no rules pearl period, so that might be kind of interesting to do that comparison. I don't have any no rules pearl footage, and I'm definitely not going to drill the one I have just to make a video with, but yeah, actually, if you're missing your no rules pearl, Omega Crux, definitely. Yeah, many people like to see a particular shape to their ball motion. Once they have a new ball, they have a tendency to force that shape to the ball. So yes, well, I'm still 45 minutes behind on questions. But yes, that's what I was talking about earlier, is where they buy a new ball with the idea that they're going to put it in a certain slot that's open, and then if it doesn't act exactly like all the rest of their balls and they can't throw it in league, they don't like it. So yeah, that's kind of weird. Oh man, we got more. Oh. Man. Yep. Princess likes pink, so we'll say P3, yeah. How many bowling balls do you have? Angel actually has the number. Angel has the number. Yoda Luke. Let's see. Bought a high road back when it first came out and absolutely hated it. Just plugging or drilling it to see if a different layout would work better, affect performance, motion much. You know, like James said, it really depends on the layout change, but there's not a whole lot to the core of the high road to begin with, so it's not going to be affected that much, but at the same time, you're not going to change the reaction of a high road that much by changing the layout. So I can pretty well say if you don't like a high road with one layout, you're probably not going to like it with another layout. It's kind of in the same realm as the IQ Tour. You're either going to like it or you're not. The layouts aren't going to change a whole bunch. Let's see. Diablo was all right. Ugh. Rough. Hey Luke, show the tiara Angel got you. It's not. It's more of a crown than a tiara. But yeah, I have diva-ish, princessy tendencies. So, oh god, $5 again. I think this means more Nerf bullets, but she didn't get all of them. She kind of reloaded. I don't know if I want to give these back, though. I got $5 more. I'm going to have to go down. It's probably $5. Catch up on the questions, please. Yep, just for fun when the screen scrolls. Mr. Joe, Mr. Blackadder. He's going to shoot me again. Oh, man. Got somebody else in here. Oh. Oh, that's not... no, I don't speak Portuguese. Sorry. I'm not sure if you speak Portuguese. I can't tell. Okay. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Back down to James $5 again. Half an hour ago for shooting me with a Nerf gun, so I'm getting caught up. This is still like the best thing ever. This is a bass mouth koozie. This is amazing. I got it from my cousin like 6 or 7 years ago as a white elephant gift. She thought it was the most awful thing ever. And put it in the white elephant thing, and I got it, and I use it for everything. If I am drinking out of a can at home, or even if I'm not drinking out of a can, if I'm drinking out of anything that will fit in the fish, I use the fish. So yes, I'm now done with my tangerine. Some of the weird things I was saying might make you think I was having a beer. But I am in fact drinking tangerine LaCroix sparkling water, which is really good. Now I have an orange mango body armor. So... Oh, my jigsaw was a beast when I got it. When I first got it, then completely turned into crap, never threw another hammer ball again. Unfortunately. Yeah, hammers used to suck up. With all the testing I've done with the detox, the hammer stuff sucked it up the fastest. Even it sucked it up faster than other EBI stuff, which didn't make any sense since they were all they were made of the same plant. So why hammer balls soaked it up and sucked it up and died so much quicker than everything else, I have no idea. Jigsaw trap, I have 4 300s with. Still the 4 300s and 2 800s. So I have more honor scores with that single ball than I've had with any other ball. Even multiples of, like, I've had 5, either just drill number 5 or number 6 IQ Tour, and I've had 4 or 5 high roads. And I've had 1 300, maybe 2 300 with an IQ Tour, and kind of an unofficial 800. And then I had 310.59 for 4 games with a high road one time. I think I've got yeah. Oh yeah, you can bowl in GTA 5. I don't have GTA 5. I'm finally getting to get to play God of War, by the way. I've been waiting on playing God of War, so I'm going to get to I still haven't played The Last of Us, let alone The Last of Us 2. They had those on the PlayStation free download thing, or they had The Last of Us, and God of War didn't cost very much. But I still haven't played those. Looking forward to that. Yep, Dennis won the high roller about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, dude, as tough as nails. Yeah, he looks like it. I mean, he's like Floyd Mayweather. It's just like watching the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight was so interesting because I swore that there was a couple times, I think in the first round, and then again in the third round, when Conor had him just, was just punishing him, and he just didn't. And that's what Conor kept saying after the match, is like, he's so composed. I mean, his composure is just unreal, and I think that's Dennis's thing, is he just doesn't go away. You got a P2 versus Axiom video coming? No. Go watch DH Bowling. They've got a good video on that. I'm not going to drill a P2 left-handed, at least for a while, because it's overlapped with a whole bunch of other stuff. And I can't justify drilling a ball just for a video. So no P2 versus Axiom video from me, unfortunately. Which ball would you recommend for a somewhat beginner? I average about 150 with 14-mile-an-hour ball speed. Yeah, Hustle Link, one of the tropical surges, what James said. I could just scroll down through all of these and say what James said, but there's a lot of people that will watch the live streams after the fact when they're driving, or, if they drive for work or whatever else. And here she's coming down to shoot me again. Thanks, Joe.
No, it's not Joe.
Huh?
It's not Joe.
It was Joe.
Well, James requested it. Discord.
Oh, well, requested it and then didn't. Yeah. Shoot me in the face. Yeah, okay. This is why I turn my head. Man.
Well, then here, let me come this way.
No. You can't deface this property. I mean, I wasn't given much to begin with. Don't make it worse. I have questions to read. I'm still a half an hour behind.
Whose fault is that?
Huh?
Whose fault is that?
The rabbits. Those damn rabbits. I was telling you, on the trails. Oh. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. You break it, you buy it. Definitely don't do that. I like Heck Post Luke. Yes, yeah. Yeah. People generally like it better when I go off the rails. And that's kind of the point of going over to my other channel and doing some like beer frames or something there. Here, I'll give them back. There's one under the chair over there, and
That's fine.
oh crap! I just kicked that one further under the chair.
I got more in the tote. I'll just go get the other 500.
Oh yeah, go get all the other Nerf darts. Yeah. Do the Gravity Evolve and Phase 2 behave about the same on a house shot? No, because spec is so much different than regular. Yeah, Hot Cell Opinion video is my favorite. Yeah.
You could make a couple of those while you're on.
Possibly. Oh, I just figured something out here. All right. Your commitment is much appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation. It's been good to listen to while I resurface, repolish, and clean my arsenal. Yep. Wasn't Flashpoint Peppermint? I think I actually had a Flashpoint. I can't remember. Love Chad's reaction on the hot chili nut. I haven't watched that one yet. I've been too busy catching up on Marvel movies. We'll talk about that a little bit. So yeah, I'm finally catching up on the Marvel movies. It helps out a lot since they have them on Disney Plus. But prior to now, or the last week or so, the only Marvel I'd seen Iron Man 1 and 2, both the Ant-Mans, and both Guardians of the Galaxy, and then the Avengers movies. I didn't see any Captain Americas, didn't see any Thors. Well, I did see Doctor Strange. That was a good one. Didn't see Captain Marvel, didn't see Black Panther. Didn't see none of it. So, I missed a lot with the Avengers movies. I didn't quite get them as much. I heard Monkey Shoulder's good. Yeah, Monkey Shoulder's really good. I typically like more of a charcoaly, woody taste out of the scotches. But it's not quite as strong of a taste as some other stuff. Like, I really like Johnny Walker Black. Really like Johnny Walker Black. A Monkey Shoulder it's really smooth. It's a whole lot more drinkable. It's not one of those. I mean, all whiskeys are sipping whiskeys, or you don't want to chug anything, of course. But but it's not quite as assertive, or it's not quite as strong. It's really, really smooth. So I like it quite a bit. Promotion tours, Melon Mint as well. Yes, definitely. Yes, I am from Topeka, Kansas. In terms of response, what's the fastest, slowest response ball in the current lineup? Yeah, the slowest would probably be the Urethanes. And yeah, the P3, I think the Nuke, for me, the Nuclear is actually quicker response just by a hair, because the P3 is pretty fast. And probably because, the difference for me is probably because my P3 is drilled pinned down, pretty weak pinned down. And my Nuke is pretty strong pin up. So, do I play video games? Oh, yes. I play video games. I am pale and I am ginger. And I was 4 years old when the original Nintendo came out. And Mom got it for Dad way back in the day. And so, yes. I'm also extremely introverted. You should have seen me when I first started doing the videos. I couldn't even talk to a camera. It took me 45 minutes to record 2 minutes worth of audio for the videos way back in the day. I used to be terrified of public speaking, terrified of private speaking, really. I mean, there was a person that I knew one time. It was very, very quick-witted, fast, funny, whatever else, and he short-circuited me one time. I mean, I didn't talk very much, but he said something that was funny and both like really witty at the same time, and I'm sitting here appreciating the witticism of it, and that it's also funny at the same time, and it worked on so many different levels that I couldn't even respond to him. Like, it was a greeting. It was something. It was something he was saying, "Hey, how's hey, what's up?" or something, But it was some witty saying that he had, and I just kind of nodded and smiled at him. I didn't even respond to him, and he kind of his eyes kind of got big at me, and I'm like, this is awful. So I walked away. I couldn't even answer him. Terribly, terribly introverted. I about couldn't. I got to meet Verity Crawley about a year and a half ago. I'm a big fan of Verity, and I really couldn't even talk to her, and somebody else actually had to tell her to come talk to me. And then it was just awful while I was talking to her, and she told me not to be so shy. And she's kind of a shy little English girl herself to begin with, so it was awkward. But I'm generally an awkward person, so it's just really just par for the course, I guess. Let's see. Will Storm HQ let you bowl in their lanes if you go to visit? Yes, and Hank told me, he said that I needed to do the hot sauce challenge, but I had to bowl Lindsay because she was the hot sauce. Oh, and I I have to bowl the hot sauce challenge against either Lindsay or Leanne, because I just want to say okay boomer to either one of them. It works for Lindsay too, but Leanne's nickname is Boomer, so I can say okay boomer. And then Lindsay, I can say okay boomer, shine. So it works. I mean, I'd have to bowl one of them, but yeah. That could totally be a thing if we actually stop. The plan is that we drive to Nationals every year, and we drive through Salt Lake City, and which is only an hour south of Brigham City, which is where Storm's at. And so the plan is, if Nationals actually goes off, we're scheduled for late June. So unless it gets pushed back far enough that they just can't hold the tournament at all, the plan is still to stop at Storm on the way back. And if I might have to make a special trip anyway, just if we don't end up going, I might still just have to go out there for a day or two anyway to kind of visit and say what's up. But yes, I would be able to bowl on their lanes. And yeah, I would probably do a hot sauce challenge or something like that. That could be fun. Testing your knowledge. I have a Marvel S. You guys know what it is. Yes, it's a NRG solid cover Marvel. Any plans to drill a short pin ball, and compare it to urethane? Maybe. I want to drill something with a short pin for Nationals anyway, but I've kind of been going through my Nationals arsenal, and I think that I already have what I want. I don't think I'm going to need a short pin ball, and so I couldn't exactly justify just drilling one for a video. So, oh, Bork. God didn't want me to, I just randomly saw that. God didn't want me to beat God of War. I went through 2 PS dues, 3 memory cards, and 2 discs. Froze at the end battle every time. Interesting. Yeah, I'm... Rabbit trails. Okay, there we go. So yes. Thanks again, Mr. Joe, for the donation. I finally made it back down to that. Have you tried the Storm Boa signature shoe? Will there be more colors other than black? I don't know. Those are not terribly attractive to me with the big Storm bolt kind of cockeyed on the side of the shoe. That's not really my thing, so... I love talking bowling, but I love actually bowling even more. Yeah. How can I get more leverage? Brad and Kyle actually have some pretty good videos on mechanics. What they basically do is they come across with me in a sweeper, and then that gives them ideas for mechanics videos. And so I probably should be getting a cut. Probably should be getting a cut. I got to go, but thanks for answering my questions and chat as well on the stream. Yep. Thank you. Now that's probably been 30 minutes since you've left. Luke has 62 balls, 9 undrilled. That's 62 many. Chuckle, chuckle. Send those 9 to me. No, you can't have those because those are special. Phase Tour, Phase G, Secret Code, Zero Gravity, Hectic, No Rules, Pearl, High Road X, Idle Pearl, an OG Phase. So I've got a few collection balls here recently. Yeah, I've seen his stash. It's not that exciting. Bunch of ball boxes on a couple shelves off to his left. Yeah, pretty much. I've got some special ones up there, but yep. What's up, Mochachi? Even though you just got here. My purple hook's plenty in the right situations. Yes, definitely. My purple hook's like a scalded ape on some conditions. I'm not even sure what that means, but that sounds interesting. Just do bowling ball review videos throwing balls on your couch. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Body armor in the house, my favorite flavor. My favorite flavor is, well, let me see. I had one of these Tropical coconut is pretty outstanding. Tropical fruit punch is also pretty good. Strawberry banana. Another strong contender. Now that the nuclear has been out for over a month, would you keep it at 3,000? Would it be part of your rotation? Absolutely not. I would keep it at 3,000, but it's way too strong. There's no scenario that I can imagine ever being able to throw my nuclear in. So I like it, but no. Boomer. Yep. Boomer. Belmo bowling stock is making bank now. Yeah. Interestingly enough, Belmo bowling. Okay, Boomer. Yep. I've got to say, Boomer. Okay, Boomer to Leanne. That's like top of the list. Top of the list, definitely. Excellent game series. Yep. I haven't played Uncharted 4. I have not played any of the Uncharted games, but I've heard that I need to play God of War. And I do have a PS4 Pro, so I do see all the 4K glory. I have a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV, so I can see all the glory of God of War. And then The Last of Us apparently is a really good one too. So, yep, Verity. Yep, big fan of Verity. She just number one, English people sound way smarter than we do. So when I'm listening to her or Stuart Williams or Dom Barrett, I just naturally feel more intelligent just listening to them. Because they're so much more intelligent and proper and kind of dignified. You never see English people in general don't lose their minds like Americans seem to. They're always like super chill and under control, and I really like. I like watching the PWBA more than the PBA anyway, and so I tend to like a lot of the female bowlers better, I guess you'd say. And in combination with being English, Verity's just got she's just a bowler. She's not trying to do anything else but bowl well and be positive. And even when you can tell that she doesn't want to be positive, she's still being positive, and that's something that I'm awful at. And so I kind of just respect her drive. She just stays in her own lane and follows her passion, and she doesn't try to be hip or edgy or anything else, but just really into bowling. So, and I appreciate that. And plus, if anybody said that they wouldn't want to throw the ball like Verity, you're crazy. If I took a trip to Missouri, do you think I could bowl with PDW? Does he live in Missouri? I'm not sure where PDW actually lives. Oh, by the way, The Last of Us is the best video game of all time. It pulls at my heart every time I played through it. What a masterpiece. Sweet. You're a minute behind. I'm a few minutes behind. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I used to be a big fan of RPGs. I'm super excited for Final Fantasy VII remake. I just played the demo, and it looks pretty good. But yeah, I'm big into stories and like fantasy stuff. I was talking earlier about the fantasy series, that I've been writing for the last couple decades. But yeah, I get into I nerd out on that stuff. I like Lord of the Rings and the Marvel movies and Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, and role-playing games that have more of a story to them. Girls have such pretty games, great balance and knee bend, and I think that's why I like watching the women better, because they don't get bailed out by their power so much, or they don't rely on their power so much to get the pins down. They know Danielle McEwen is the perfect example, because she's got like a Carolyn Doran Ballard type game to where she doesn't do much with the bowling ball at all. She just puts it in play and is super ridiculously accurate. So I like seeing accuracy in shot making contests, and not saying that you can't see that on tour, but they try to higher rev games generally try to overpower the lane more than making more accurate shots. They were talking about that on the World Championship with Francois having, you know, a lower power game, and he also had the highest percentage of pocket hits, and Randy said, well, he has to, because he didn't have the power that all these other guys do. And so when you get used to, I mean, you rely on whatever your game's built on, and if your game's built on power, you want to find a way to help that power play to your advantage. And when you don't have that power, you have to use your accuracy to your advantage. And like I said, I like watching just pure shot making contests. So, Daria, I don't think I'd be able to bowl if she was on the same lane as me. I actually crossed with her at the 2018 US US Open PTQ. I bowled with her and Matt Ogle, and James from Australia. And Daria was exactly like she seems all the time. She's got that. She's always got the grin going and just super nice, and it was fun bowling with her. But she's, you know, she's I don't know. Watching Matt Ogle was really impressive. By the way, he led the PTQ. And it's so interesting seeing that the pros make moves so much quicker than everybody else does, and they buy into them so much that, you know, Matt Ogle would leave a 4-pin. He would be striking and then leave a 4-pin and instantly either move an arrow left or go change balls or something else. He didn't even mess with it. He saw the ball start sneaking up and he's like, well, I'm done with this, and I'm making the move and just doing it. It's not like, oh, that ball hooked a little bit too much. Maybe I'll throw it a little bit harder. Maybe I'll move a board or two left. That's not how it works. When they move, they make zone moves more than smaller moves. So that was really impressive to watch him stay ahead of the transition. And he threw a bad, everybody, especially on tougher conditions, you're going to throw a bad shot and you're going to miss a move every once in a while, but they don't miss moves near as much as they just occasionally throw a bad shot. But the difference between a lot of the pros too is that you have to 100% commit to every single shot every single time. There's no room for being tentative or anything else. You've got to throw the shot, and if you just happen to throw a bad shot, whatever. But, you know, they'll throw a big 4 and then throw the next 6 and erase it and then some. So it's not like, and especially if you watch any of the flow bowling stuff, pros open a lot. Unless the pattern is just crazy easy, but they open a lot, and you see them not terribly concerned too often unless they open several times in the same game. But the amount of times that you'll see somebody open and then throw 5 or 6 in a row is just incredible. So, you grew up bowling against Deandra Asbeatty. I didn't grow up bowling against anybody. I know that Chris Barnes is actually from. Yeah, you're almost here. Yeah. Somebody said Daniela's Bay. Don't get me start saying that. Okay. I didn't grow up bowling. I didn't grow up bowling really. I bowled for like a year or two when I was 11 or 12, and then I didn't bowl again until I was 19. And so then I was past the point of bowling in college. I didn't bowl a whole lot in youth, so I never really got. I mean, I developed a group of friends, and I bowled youth until I was 21. I bowled until they kicked me out because I didn't know anybody in the adult leagues, and I made some friends in youth leagues. But then after we got out of youth leagues, everybody kind of scattered and went to their own lives, and we're kind of all over the place. And I still talk to quite a few of them actually, which is cool. But they're kind of all over the place. And so I didn't really have a group of friends coming out of youth leagues to do much with, and so then I kind of had to. And nobody in the adult leagues knew me either, and everybody kind of always had who they bowled with, and then I didn't have any friends that I bowled with in college, and aside from that, you make a lot of connections in collegiate bowling, and I didn't have any connections with people, and so when people get this idea about oh, I'm a staffer and I have a YouTube channel or whatever, this is all stuff that I've kind of built myself, and people say, just get your, like somebody asked me to compare the hypercell skid to the nuclear cell, and I'm like, well, I'm not spending $300 on a hypercell skid to make a video for, and they're like, well, just have some of your friends at Storm send you the ball, and I'm like, well, number one, they probably wouldn't want to do that to begin with, and I have acquaintances, I have people that I know at Storm, but I can't really say that. I talked to Chad McLean often enough, but I've only talked to Steve Klompkin through emails. I got to meet Hank Boomershine, which was cool, but I'm just as much in awe of pros and everybody else as anybody watching is. I'm just a ginger with a camera that's really bright on the screen. But no, that's why I like doing stuff like this and talking to everybody else. This is kind of like being a pro shop guy on a video camera talking to everybody else that's out there. I was a lot more comfortable in the pro shop than I am with everybody else that's in the PBA or even just bowls regionals that are kind of out of my league. So I don't really have a place to belong, really, I guess. I'm just kind of floating out there in the middle of everywhere and not really. Everybody has their own little group, or there's some of the guys I used to go to nationals with, a lot of the guys bowled in college together, and so the one time a year that they would see each other was nationals. They'd put together the nationals team and get to see each other every once in a while. I didn't have that, and I don't really have several different groups I bowl with for tournaments, which is pretty nice. I've gotten to know a lot of people pretty well, but I don't have they're all kind of mishmash from other places, and they've been bowling together for a long time, and so I just kind of got added to the group or something, so it's weird. Yeah, we have this college bowler in our scratch league, and her form is pretty and balanced. Balance, arm, and knee, continuation, just perfect. Yeah, I throw it like a moron. So I used to, before my basketball injury, I actually used to throw it kind of normal, and now it's weird. Angel just now on Discord, he is not introverted. I'm not introverted so much anymore. You kind of get used to doing things, and now I actually like, we have a bowling banquet every year, and I kind of like getting up there and presenting stuff and talking about stuff. It gives me a chance to write some funny things down and try to be funny. And it's a whole lot easier to just talk at a camera than it is to actually talk when you're looking at, when you've got 200 sets of eyeballs staring at you. It's a little bit different. But you kind of get used to it, and I would say that if anybody is introverted or does have is shy, socially awkward, whatever else, creating a YouTube channel has been like the best thing for that, because it kind of forces you to get used to it, and it's challenging. And the first time somebody says something negative about you, you kind of shut down and get all sweaty and nervous and everything, but it's good. It's been fun. Coconut, you don't like coconut? My wife doesn't like coconut, and the rest of the kids don't like coconut. But I love coconut. Now, it's one of those things I could see how people would not like. There's some things that I have no idea how people don't like, but coconut's got kind of one of those flavors that I could see people either liking or not liking. Like, I really love black olives too, but I could understand people not liking black olives. The dogs don't like black olives. You, Brad, and Kyle have different styles when it comes to delivering bowling info, and I think it's awesome. You're very direct to the point and knowledgeable. Brad and Kyle give that more Brad and Kyle give that more fun and behind-the-scenes side of the pro life. Their personalities and the other are just great for the channel and the bowling community. Yeah, and that's totally not me. I would like to be funny, but when I think that I'm funny, nobody gets my jokes because there's like several levels and layers to them. And I'll make comments to my wife and kind of chuckle to myself, and she'll just kind of give me a funny look, like, and she doesn't understand it. Most people don't understand my humor, which makes it even worse because I'm one of those people that always has to make sure that you're listening to me when I'm talking, and so I'll start talking and I'll repeat the start like several different times to make sure that you're paying attention, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something. And even when you are paying attention and hear everything, you're probably not going to get my jokes. And so you're just going to look at me weird, and then I'm going to feel even weirder than I already feel, and it's just not going to be a good situation. So have to be nice to Luke because he's holding my physics and IQ 30 hostage. Hopefully they're not cracking. I mean, I did put them through the detox, and we did get them all nice and taken care of, and they are inside of a bag on carpet, down in a controlled area. I can't promise anything, though. Axiom versus High Road Nano. A lot of people keep asking me about that. That's interesting. I know that they have different specs, but the cover looks similar enough. The High Road Nano has NRG Solid, and the Axiom is NEX, which is Nano Extreme. So the covers are fairly similar, but the Nano Extreme does hook more than regular Nano, and the cores are so different that, it's like comparing the All-Road to the Physics. There's not really much comparison at all there. So, does Storm have a really hard polyester, kind of like a Blue Dot? Yeah, and I actually drilled a... let's see. So yeah, the clear ones are actually a harder material. I just drilled a Blue Team Storm Ball lefty, and it's pretty nice. I never drilled a plastic ball lefty beforehand, and I think it's going to help me pick up the 7 pins quite a bit. Daniela's Bay. Ha ha. Freaky, now I learned something new, interesting. I can't remember what I was talking about. You're almost here. Yeah, you're almost here. I was almost here 30, 45 minutes ago. Yeah, James. Don't worry, a few rabbit trails will pop up. I've seen this movie before and knows how it ends. Yeah. I was once a console guy, but WoW is life. I got into WoW at one point way back when, but I'm not a PC guy, so... I now know what NGL means. Thought it meant something else. I have no idea what NGL means, so somebody's going to have to help me. No idea. What does NGL mean? Higher rev games try to overpower the lanes rather than make a better shot. I feel personally attacked. Oh, man. We've talked about this. What's the most versatile ball in your bag now and of all time? I don't know about all time, but the most versatile ball in my bag right now is actually the Wild Streak. The Omega Crux is making impressions on me, and I'll have to see about the Axiom once I get to throw that more, but, yeah. And of all time, I have no idea. That's pretty tough to answer. I think most people will probably say, like, IQ Tour Solid, which would be fair. Leave James alone. Oh, crap. Now it skipped again. NGL. Not gonna lie. Okay. Interesting. Alright. I am almost caught up now. Sweet. Luke can't say it in the chat, but I will for him. Daria's hot. She's too tall. She's too tall. Now, she does have this... She's one of those that just... She's got the whole cutesy thing going on, and she's... I like them shorter. Which my wife is shorter. I think she really just married me because I'm taller than she is. Yeah, and she knows. Oh, he would say what he thought. I have zero issues, and that's not what he would say. Yeah, she knows Daria's pretty, but she's not my type by a lot. too tall, blonde, a little too cutesy and adorable. So, yeah, not my type. Daria's rev rate's insane. I think actually the problem that Daria's had with competing on the PWBA is that, and Danielle McEwen talks about this a lot, where she says that competing on the men's tour is so much different. Daria has developed a lot more of a power game or a higher rev game, and when you're bowling with a bunch of people that transition the lanes differently, I would think that higher rev games would have more problems on the PWBA than she would have competing against in some of like the men's tournaments, because she's going to be fine when the lanes start burning and when you're forced in deep, where that's what gives Danielle the problems bowling with the men. And so I think that, that Daria's power is actually kind of a detriment with the different transition bowling with the women. So, yep. Verity over Daria, don't at me. I won't at you because I agree. Verity's got she's got my favorite game. One of my favorite games ever, because there's nothing forced, everything is just 100% momentum, motion, and gravity with Verity. It's just, I favor Verity. But I mean, it's so nice to have all these newer games, or these newer female bowlers that, of course I grew up watching Leanne and Carolyn Doran Ballard and Carol Norman, Cara Honeychurch. I really like Cara Honeychurch. Liz Johnson, of course. Michelle Feldman, Marianne DeRupo. There's a bunch of them. I used to like to watch, and now we have Verity and Diana Z and Daria, and Jordan Richard is amazing. Liz Colkin's a lot of fun to watch. Stephanie Johnson. Shannon O'Keefe is pretty intense, but I like watching her bowl. Maria Jose Rodriguez. Claire Guerrero, now that she's taken the wrist brace off, she throws it amazing. So yeah, there's just a bunch of them. Danielle McEwen, of course. D-Mac. Sandra Anderson. I really like watching Sandra bowl too. Angel's so honest, you're awesome. Yeah, it just better say it. Just better say it. Yep, Liz Colkin. Tish and CDB, yeah. Tish Johnson. I really, really like Tish Johnson because she's... And CDB is, again, another one, which is really cool. Carolyn Doran Ballard's my turbo rep, and so I get to send her an email every once in a while, and she knows who I am, so that's really cool. And I ran into her at the Greater Tulsa Open in November, and said hi to her, and she actually remembered who I was, and actually some details, so that's pretty awesome. But no, Carolyn Doran Ballard is pretty intense, and Tish Johnson's not quite as intense, but she's even more honest. She's even more she's got that brutal honesty where she'll just tell you what she thinks, or tells you the way it is, and if you can't accept it, that's your own damn fault. So I really, really like Tish. Haven't gotten to meet her yet, but Mr. Bill lives in Colorado Springs, and she has a pro shop down in that neck of the woods. And I think she has watched some of my videos before, so she knows who I am too. Not that I am anybody, but she just knows I exist, which I think is cool. And so I would love to go see her at the shop sometime. But yeah, I really like the intensity of those two. And my Carolyn Doran Ballard story is, I actually have a video of it. I've had some where I say my hilarious so-and-so story, and Carolyn got one of those episodes. I got to drill some balls for when the PWBA came to Topeka in their inaugural season back in 2015 or something. I was both terrified and very, very appreciative and interested. And I got to meet Del Ballard too. That was that was a whole lot of cool. And he told you one of the guy that was drilling out in the truck forgot to reset the pitches before he cut the top of her switch grip off, and so he gouged the ball up, and she was not happy, and so she came in to me, or she had Brett Cooper bringing a ball to drill, and he's like, I'm not going to be here the whole weekend, so just go ahead and drill this ball just in case. He's like, I imagine you're going to drill a couple more balls for her over the weekend, and I'm not going to be here to do it, so you just go ahead and do it, and she'll have to deal with it. She's very on top of things, and she's very no-nonsense, very business, type A personality where she just wants it to be right, and that's kind of, that's me too. I'm just not as assertive and outgoing and on top of things as that. But yeah, it was kind of funny because he took the ball out and everything was okay, and then she came back later and she said, she came back, she just marched right into the pro shop and she said, did you drill my ball today? And I kind of looked at her and I said, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to. She's like, no, screw that. Did you drill that ball? And I said, yeah, I drilled it. And she said, okay, great. That was perfect. Can you keep doing that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good at hitting lines on a press. So yeah, we can do that. And then, after she made match play, and then Dell told me after the weekend, he said, congratulations, you kept my wife happy for an entire weekend, and that's more than most people can say, so good job. So very, very cool. I don't consider hitting lines on a ball to be terribly difficult. Apparently it's more difficult than I realize it is, but I'm a little bit anal with it. So Dasha, oh my gosh, Dasha, yeah. Dasha is definitely bae. Dasha is freaking hilarious. Freaking hilarious. Liz Culkin, very underrated. Yeah, she's. And I used to watch when I was in the pro shop. I used to watch a lot of the collegiate stuff that they'd have on YouTube, but this was back before Bowl TV, when USBC would have, or somebody would have collegiate tournament live streams on YouTube. I used to watch a bunch, and I would always, Liz Culkin bowled for Nebraska, and she was their anchor, and every time she got up, I don't know how many months and how many different tournaments I watched, but every time she was on there and they got in the 10th frame, she struck out every single time. Even when she, not literally every single time, but I'm a writer, we exaggerate a little bit. But she struck out the vast majority of the time. I mean, it was literally like 85, 90% of the time she would just strike out, even when she was changing balls or trying something different. And I'm like, man, she just gets it done. She just gets up there and puts them all back and doesn't like flinch, blink, anything. So I'm like, she's gonna be awesome. And when the pros came to Topeka, I picked the top 5. I told everybody who the top 5 were going to be before the weekend started, and I got 4 of them right. And the only one I missed was because Liz Johnson didn't actually attend the tournament. So she would have been I think she would have been a lock for the show too. And I told him, I said, this was Liz Culkin's first season. It was a rookie season. Obviously, it was the rookie season for a lot of them. But she'd just gotten out of college, and it wasn't like a Shannon Pluhowski or something where she'd been around for a while and people knew about her. Nobody around really knew about her. And I said, no, you watch out for Liz Culkin. She's gonna the lane surface really favors her type of game. I said she's gonna be dangerous and she might win the whole thing. And then of course she won, and she shot 300, and she shot like 830 something for 3 games out of it. But yeah, and yes, Liz Johnson is the GOAT. Luke's form is still way better than mine. Ouch. That's all I'm going to say. Shake off that L. Has your right arm gotten any better? Yes and no. The form is still bad, and my mechanics are going to be bad no matter what, but I'm not putting so much use on it so often, and so yes. Things have gotten quite a bit better now that I'm not filming 3 hours with it every week in between a couple of league sets and tournaments and whatever else. Plus not forcing myself to play a bunch of different lines with a bunch of different stuff, whether or not it's the right way to play and trying to force stuff and then being tired and trying to force stuff on top of that. So I'm a PWBA fanboy. Yup. I'm the movie reference joke guy, and apparently I'm always like the only one who's seen it. Okay, so here's another, oh man, big rabbit trail. So Brad Miller of Brad and Kyle fame is from Lee's Summit, which is a part of the Kansas City area. And I bowl with a guy. His name's Steve Keeler, and he looks like holy crap! Jeff Goodman. Nope, not Jeff. Man, Big Lebowski. I don't know. I seriously just pulled a major. Man. John Goodman. Holy crap. I just pulled a major blank on that. John Goodman. He looks like John Goodman. Ouch. So no, my buddy Keeler looks like John Goodman. And so we were at this sweeper in Kansas City, and I didn't really know, Brad and I didn't really know each other. When him and Kyle started doing the YouTube, they knew that, and Brad had just signed on to Storm, and he knew that I was a Storm guy that also had a YouTube channel, and so we kind of knew each other, we knew about each other, but didn't really know each other, and so I'm trying to, because I'm introverted, don't listen to what Angel says, so I'm trying to find some way to just kind of break the ice and make jokes or whatever, and so I walked over there and he was crossing with Keeler, and I said, "Hey, go ask Keeler where his Pomeranian's at." And he kind of did, his Brad's regular smile thing. He kind of, okay, and I could see in his eyes he had no idea what was going on. And I was trying to be like extra friendly or extra outgoing or whatever. I just kind of walked up to him like we'd known each other for years, and I said, "Go ask Keeler where his Pomeranian's at." And he went, "Oh, okay." He didn't totally get it, but he was trying to be nice. And then Keeler comes back and come back from throwing a shot, and Brad's like, "Hey man, you forget to bring your Pomeranian?" And Keeler's like, "What? What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm going, "Oh God." And I'm kind of still trying to smile and sell it, and I'm acting like it's really funny, and then they look at each other and they have no idea what either one of them's talking about, and Brad's in the middle of it, and he didn't have any idea what's going on. And then when Keeler didn't have any idea what's going on, that made Brad even more confused. And I'm still just there smiling, bouncing up and down, and and I'm like, "Big Lebowski, Walter Sobchak, Pomeranian that's not a Pomeranian, dog is like," they both have never seen The Big Lebowski. I mean, Brad has never seen The Big Lebowski. Keeler's never seen it. And so here I am trying to be funny and break the ice and whatever else, and it didn't work. It really didn't work. And even then, I mean, I can understand if I'm quoting stuff that people probably haven't seen, or if it's an older movie or something, I'm talking to a younger crowd or something like that. Yeah, you would think that most people have seen The Big Lebowski, especially if they're bowlers. I mean, can you think of a bowler that hasn't seen Kingpin? I mean, and here I am trying to be funny and kind of fit in and break the ice, and something broke. It wasn't the ice. But oh no, yeah, my assessment was definitely not a shot towards you. Oh no, I didn't take it as a shot. You have that dry humor, and I'm with that. Okay, so at least you understand that. Most people don't understand. Too bad we don't bowl in the same area. I think you'd be a super cool dude to meet. Most people think that. Jack Olson. Oh, crap. Really tied the room together. Let's see. Crap, I just lost the... Could I bowl with you? Yes, I think you're from town, aren't you? Yeah, I met you. I met you the other day. We probably could bowl together sometime. Or Jack Easom, I think. Yeah, I'm confused. Too many people. Oh my god. Beef stew is hilarious. Jeremy Scott, please never remove the idle pearl. Yeah. Yep. Yep, I would hurt some people. Oh, there we go. Opinions on the Halo Pearl. It's one of those that an Angel gets on me as soon as I say, oh man, I'm never gonna go anywhere without one of these. The Halo Pearl was one of those, and then I go everywhere without it now because I'm throwing other stuff. And when I got it back out to compare to the Omega, everybody instantly recognized, like, that's a good look. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good look. I've got other stuff to throw, but the Halo Pearl's a beast. It's pretty awesome. So, Halo Pearl's a great ball. Yep. Not gonna lie. Yep. Let's see. Oh, what? I want you two to hear this. Oh, what did Nick say? How's the nuclear on a beat up house shot? Holy crap. Yeah, Nick, if you're still here, Nick wants YouTube to hear this story. So, Nick Brown, that runs the SRG BBFS, I have if anybody knows Ken and McFalls, we have kind of this group chat thing, and we share some pretty interesting experiences and stories and stuff. How's the nuclear on a beat up house shot? There's somebody on the YouTube or on the Facebook group, and he's young. He's like 13 or 14, just got into bowling, and he asked a lot of questions you would expect somebody new to ask, but he asked about how the nuclear was on a beat up house shot, and I said, well, that's a terrible idea. You never want to throw a nuclear on a beat up house shot. It already hooks a bunch on a fresh house shot, let alone something beat up. And somebody got right on and said, oh, well, no, I actually think it's got a weak cover on it, and it should be fine on and this kid's two-handed and throws it kind of slow too. And so I said, it's probably a terrible idea. And somebody else jumped right on there and said, oh no, I think on a beat up house shot it'd be just fine, and whatever else. I'm like, no, it's just gonna hook more, and it's gonna hook earlier. I'm not sure how that's fine. It's like, well, if it doesn't work on fresh, and you're saying it doesn't work on fresh, and it'd be even worse on a beat up shot. And apparently we were having a difference of opinion on what beat up meant. He was thinking carry down, and I was thinking friction, and then he said that the nuclear's cover was actually weak, and I'm confused, and it was frustrating. So yeah. Yeah, back to the Daria. Yeah, Daria is too tall. She's like 5'8", which is too tall for me. Too tall. I like the short ones. 5 foot to 5'3" is like the optimal range. Here comes the wife with a real gun after the Daria comment. No. She knows all about that already. Because when I went down there to bowl in the first place, and I told some people this, I saw that Daria was bowling the PTQ, and I'm like, I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to cross with her. I know. Because that would be like not the best thing. So I ended up crossing with her, and she was fine, and she was friendly, and it was all good, but definitely too tall and too blonde. So the wife already knows the story. Daria versus Jasmine. Oh yeah, Gigi Mason is pretty cool too. I think she needs to just kind of slow down and smooth a few things out. She's got a little bit too much action in her swing. I think once Gigi, everything kind of settles down and rounds out or smooths out a little bit, I think that she'll be pretty good. So, have you ever thrown a Rotogrip unhinged? No, I always wanted to throw one, but I think it came out the year that the first year I was on with Storm, and that was I was on an advisory contract, and I could only throw Storm. And so I think that's the year that the Unhinged and the Haywire and the Outcry came out. And I wanted to throw them all, and I couldn't. So yeah. Prather is ridiculously fun to watch. Super nice guy to talk to in person too. Yeah, Prather's a good dude. So, man, Stuart Williams is one of the funniest people. He was actually talking to one of the ball. I think he was talking to when I was at the U.S. Open when it was in Wichita in 2018. I'm pretty sure it was 2018. But I was watching one of the practice sessions, and he was just happened to be talking to Tim Mack, and he was I was just happened to be sitting there where they were having the conversation right up there, and he was talking to Tim, and I couldn't help but chuckle at some of this stuff. And so then he kind of included me in the conversation, or at least, acted. He didn't necessarily say anything to me, but he started looking at me and kind of engaging without actually, like, he was still carrying on his conversation with Tim. But he is so funny, and the English accent just sets everything off. I mean, it's just perfect for everything. I mean, he's just one of those guys that gets into a rant about something, but he's just proper. He sounds like this proper English guy, and so it's hilarious. Let's see. Yeah, Tish Johnson. I wish that I have this thing where I need to make sure I catch the ball. I need to see motion down the back end. And I don't trust the ball to do the reacting for me. I want to make it do what I want it to do. And Tish is like the opposite of that. She just delivers the shot. And I think that to be a really good bowler, you have to let go. You just have to control as much as you can control and just make the best shot you can and then live with the results. I think that that's something that I'm not very good at. But yeah, you've got to just throw the shot. You've got to just throw the shot, and whatever happens, happens. So, Mitch Hoope, yeah, I get to see Mitch a lot in person, too. That's some other guys from the area might know that every single time we go to a local sweeper around here, it's like a miniature PBA regional. Because most of the time, when tour's not going, Brad Miller will show up, Kyle Sherman will show up every once in a while. Packy will be there. Mitch will be there. We've had Francois there before. Wesley Lowe will be there. And this is before we even get to the local killers. Dylan Burns shows up to some. He's actually has the 9-game all-time scoring record, period. He averaged 274 or something for 9 games at Holiday Doubles in St. Louis, which is absolutely ridiculous. And he's absolutely ridiculous. Prather has been there once or twice. I'm trying to think of who else is down in Wichita. Chapman has been there. AJ Chapman has been there a couple times. So yeah, we have, like I said, this is before you even get to the regular guys from the region that are shooters. We got half the PBA tour there. How good do you think beef stew would be if he was skinny? I'm fat like him, so no offense. I don't know. It's kind of interesting for him because he's just kind of round in the middle, but then he's pretty narrow. His legs are pretty narrow. And so once he, the way that he throws the ball, he doesn't really have to get his body out of the way much. So I don't think it'd be really even different. We need a righty buttriff, however you spell it. Yeah, I think that's, yep. A righty buttriff is just any house rat. Signing up for the National Spelling Bee now, yeah. Oh, I can tell you exactly. Why is Butters so good? I can't figure it out. Ugly, effective game. I feel him on the 7 pins. That's because that's because of the way that the left side is. He understands the left side of the lane so much better than somebody like a Ryan Simonelli, who, once again, some people just have such an overpowering physical game that they can overpower the lane, they can overpower the conditions so often that once they have to play the game the lanes want them to play, doesn't work out quite as well. Like I said, that the way to strike on the left side of the lane is to do what I call throwing at the corner. So you throw it where the friction on the side of the lane meets the back end friction, and you throw it straight at that corner. Wherever that corner is, you just throw it, you get as close as you can to the friction, and then throw it straight at the corner, so that you have the maximum amount of length, but you're also cutting your angle down so that the ball is going to be ready. You're not giving it a whole bunch of angle to overcome. So you throw on a straight line right as close as you can get to the friction on the side, and just throw it right at the corner so you can get the maximum amount of length, but then you also get a pretty strong back end reaction because you're close to the friction. Once you hit the friction, there's not as much angle to overcome. And if you do it on the right side of the lane, you're going to, and you got to throw it firm on the left side. If you throw it like that on the right side of the lane, it's going to be flat 10 city constantly. But there's the reaction on the left side is so much quicker that when you do that, the ball will actually roll back up. That's how you get the ball down the lane and keep it controlled on the left side of the lane, and you're still going to get that back end motion on the back. That's why he's so good, because he kind of corkscrews, spins it, but he throws it straight at the corner. And so the ball gets the maximum amount of length, and then as soon as it hits dry, it's going to go. But that's how he's so good, because he understands that side of the lane so well that's what he does. He just kind of shoves it. He just kind of shoves it straight at the corner, and that's what works. I mean, you can't really go around on the left side of the lane. You really can't go around the middle. You have to do it somewhat to get the ball down the lane, but that can give you a lot of angle issues. If you get it left too quick, it's going to go. If you get it in, it's still going to go. If you get it kind of in, I mean, you want to get it in the middle, but you have to be firm with it. But if you're too firm, it doesn't quite work out. So that's why I say you got to get as close as you can to that friction on the side of the lane and just kind of throw it straight. You have to play the middle without actually playing the middle. And I know none of that made any sense, and I stuttered my way through it all. But that's why he's so good, because getting the ball down the lane, playing the middle of the lane like he does, is incredibly difficult on the left side. But if you can do it, that's the best thing to do by a long shot. So that's why he's so good. So yeah, exaggerate a little these hyperboles today. Let's see. My brother bowled with Brad in college, so that's all I have to contribute. And I've funded some PBA dreams several times. I look like John Goodman. Aspen, what are you doing? Don't dig through the crate, sweetie. I've never seen Jimmy Neutron. Sorry, I don't get it. Yeah, just tied the room together. That grew from Despicable Me. Interesting. Oh crap. Oh crap. I lost my spot in the chat again. There we go. Peacing out for the night. Thanks for the stream. Killed a few quarantine hours. Yep. Thanks, Aaron. Bowler that hasn't seen Kingpin. Yeah, exactly. Hi. Yeah. Well, you're different. You bowl so much that you don't have time to watch movies. I don't have time to watch any movies now. That's why all my movie references are from like 10 or 15 years ago. Frankie. Oh, ouch. Wow. Get it, James. Yeah, Marshall Kent. Yep. Is this your homework, Larry? Do you see what happens, Larry? Do you see what happens? She doesn't get it. She's down here and she doesn't get it. And yeah, I think it's actually bedtime. We've been doing this for a while. I'm trying to catch up on comments. I haven't even looked at the time or anything. Rocco, you're not going to want to do that. Hi, buddy. I know how to.
If he knocks it over, you're done now.
Well, yeah, I know, but yeah, we're done pretty well indefinitely. So sorry the shaking of the camera. We've got the big labradoodle.
He's not
I know. The big Labrador doodle. Big Labrador. We are 3 hours into this chat, and you have successfully made it through 3 hours of me rambling about nonsense. Yep, that shaking there was... oh, Bork. Yep, 3 hours into the chat. Final question, other way. Yeah, I finally got down to that. 3 hours, gotta love bowlers. Yeah, bowlers on quarantine. Gotta love bowlers. Read my comment. This is the end. Have you competed in the TAT, and what should we look for in lane play? I have not. That's one that I really like to get out to, but it just hasn't really worked out. So, who do you think is the most knowledgeable bowler, technical? I don't really think most of the bowlers now. Barnes is probably, well, I mean Belmo, yeah. Belmo is, yeah, what James said and what Angel said. Yeah, Belmo is probably the... Chris Barnes is really far up there, but he's one of those guys that thinks a little bit too colorfully. He kind of gets in his own way sometimes. Belmo is, and this is what James said, Belmo's intelligence is massively underrated. He may not be as dominant if he was one-handed or no-thumbed or whatever you want to call it, but he's so smart, and you can see it in the way he bowls. He doesn't, yeah, he's two-handed, he's got a big rev rate, but he rolls the ball like Prather does. If you watch him, actually, he rolls the ball. He doesn't just throw it hard and try to splash pins all over the place. He executes good shots, and he understands ball motion better than most people on the planet. And I think that's why he's successful more than... I mean, if it just took speed and revs, then Osku would have 20 titles too. But no, he's so smart. Yep, stay safe and stay healthy. Yep, master of the U. Look out. Hey, yeah, Jesus is getting a movie. Yep. Pull the trigger till it goes click. Yeah.
I will shoot you.
All right.
Before your wife shoots
All right.
you again.
Done. Okay. I kind of caught up with all the comments. It is nap time. And so we're going to go do that. Thanks for listening to me ramble for 3.5 hours nearly. We will probably do this another time or two throughout the throughout the quarantine. I've got 2 free weeks. I think a lot of people are going to have 2 free weeks. So yeah, check out the Patreon and the Discord. They're pretty awesome. Got a lot of good people in there, like Mr. Shimwrecker, James, and Mr. Bill, and all kinds of other people. So.
Not me, not you.
Yeah, definitely not either of us. No, you come for everybody else. So,
No, they come for you. They stay.
anyway, yeah, probably about time to wrap it up. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, James. He's been here the whole time. I think he's ready to go to bed, too. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. Click.